different. It is the Collingwood car. City Swans out for a great start. Driving from Jane from Collingwood to try and catch him here. You can just see the Sydney car up ahead there. Remember, folks, it is only one lap. Here comes Collingwood. She's stacked already. It'll be hard for her coming from here. The Sydney car well in advance now. And Jane from Collingwood has just gone backwards again. The Sydney car has not left the bitumen. This is a great piece of driving for the Sydney car. This could set the tone for the evening, what we are expected to see later on here on ECG. Going to be some pretty slick driving from Collingwood catching up. Goes around the S's. All the Sydney car stick to the road.
How long for that voiceover do you reckon I'll have for the live voiceover?
With about a quarter of a lap to go, it's the Sydney car.
Oh, is that all? We had more than that in the rehearsal.
Very comfortably, very convincingly. I don't think Collingwood can catch her. This is a lovely piece of drive. Oh, Collingwood's out of it again. She's hit the wall. Into the final straight. There it is. What a tremendous drive. Hit the wall. One Sydney won it. Congratulations, Jamie from Sydney. There's a Sony PlayStation for you, mate. What do you want to say to the Sydney fans?
Go Swans.
Good on you. And Jane from Collingwood, you won't send you away empty-handed. There's a Sony PlayStation hat. What do you want to say to the Collingwood supporters?
Oh, that's plenty, man. Right home, mate. And you'll count, that's what you'll count me done. Just keep me when they go and I'll go. Hello everyone, welcome again to the MC.
Well, thousands of fans rocking into the MCG, and that's exactly what this ground should be doing for this big clash between the Sydney Swans and Collingwood. Yes, the battle's on even before the first ball has been bounced, but a great crowd building up. They've got an interesting record, particularly at this ground. 12 times they've met here at the MCG, and it's been pretty tight. Collingwood have won 7 of those. Sydney have won 5, and this one promises to be just as tight. Hello everyone, welcome again to the MCG, and what a game this one should be. Sydney sitting on top of the ladder up against Collingwood. Interestingly enough, the last time these two sides met at this ground, we go back a long, long way, back to 1936, and it was a grand final. Collingwood was successful on that occasion to the tune of 11 points. It could be a little tougher tonight. You've only got to look at the ladder to see that. Sydney, despite going down to Melbourne last week, sitting on top of the ladder, going down only once. And Collingwood, well, they've had a great start to the season 1998 after 6 games, 4 wins and 2 losses. Tonight's game should be a beauty.
The 1998 AFL Premiership season proudly brought to you by Telstra, making life easier. Victoria Bitter for a hard-earned thirst. Cadbury Mark of the Year and McDonald's, official restaurant of the AFL.
And time now to check out these two sides, Collingwood and Sydney. To do that, 2 former champs of the game. They're behind the microphone with me tonight. Let's welcome them, Terry Wheeler and Lee Matthews.
Thank you, Sandy, and Friday night football, Lee, and the weather looks very good for tonight's clash.
Looks very good, yeah. It's unusual to see Sydney playing Collingwood in Melbourne. It was round 7, 1995, the last time that the Swans ventured, and it was, of course, Victoria Park, but tonight it's transferred to the MCG, and they've had the wood over Collingwood, won the last 3, the Swans, so Collingwood want to get them down here.
Collingwood side, having won their last 3, Lee, have kept an unchanged lineup this week.
Yeah, well, they're going along pretty well. Mark Richardson there, pick back pocket, may get the job on Tony Lockett. Krasinski's mainly been playing up in the wing, pretty solid there. Buckley, he's been fantastic almost every game this year. Pugsley filling in for Anthony Rocco at centre-half forward. Sav Rocco, a big load always on his shoulders to kick his 4-5 to kick a winning score. And the Monkhurst, Stafford duel in the ruck. I think Patterson will get the tagging job on Kelly.
And the Sydney Swan side, suffering their first loss last week up at the Sydney Cricket Ground. They've reacted. They made 5 changes on Thursday night, but in a late loss here this evening, Lee.
Well, Paul Ruse out, and that is a big loss. Lacuria in. That's 6 changes in 1 week. That's a lot of a big turnover within 7 days. Rodney Eade, 3rd-year coach now. Nick Dunkley on rocker. That's going to be an important duel. The half-back line, Wharf, Lacuria there, just popped in for Ruse at centre-half-back. Schwash, he's going to be important. And Maxfield to give the Swans the midfield run. Mooney, O'Loughlin, a really classy half-forward flanker. The Lockett at one end and Rock at the other. It's going to be interesting to watch those 2 players. Again, Stafford in the ruck, Creswell, Kelly. That's a really powerful midfield group. And Jared Krause, their first game from Norwood in South Australia.
So the Sydney side all ready to go. It's going to be very hot in the centre of the ground. All the good players are there. Tony Lockett at one end, Severio Rocker at the other. Come back after the break and let's see how they go.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and the big fella's going to sing Volare, Volare, whoa, whoa. Cantare. You idiot.
It's a nightmare.
Let's fly away to the... In the glow of a star, but I know we're a lover's fantasy.
Mate, are we going to meet the train down at different?
Come in, Sandy, come in. Come on.
Good, thanks, Serge. Johnny Stevens leaving the ground for Sydney. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. That's very loud, man.
Which way did they go? See?
Look happy, you blokes. God. Welcome back to the MCG. Joining us, the fourth umpire, Johnny Russo. Good evening, John.
Good evening, Sandy. And disappointing crowd, but perfect conditions and looking forward to a great game.
Yes, but you're all happy, you three. You've got Mother's Day off, so let's enjoy this game and let's go down to the boundary line. A man who joined a very exclusive club during the week, the Big 4-0, one of the great singers of this town, Dipper. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Sandy.
What about a bit of Volare before we go any further?
Volare.
That's enough.
Hey, Sandy, it's just magnificent to be involved in the club which you started many, many years ago. Sandy, as John said, look, there's a decent crowd here tonight, and the conditions are just terrific for football. Just a slight breeze, and looking forward to a terrific game. But the big news here is there's the 21st here as well. A gentleman called Marcus Hahn has booked the MCG members room 3 months ago to say, look, it'll be a quiet night at the MCG. Not only has he got 150 people there, he's also got about another 50,000. So happy birthday, Marcus. I know you're listening.
Yeah, good on you, Marcus. Hope you have a good 21st. Thank you, Dipper. So we're just about set to go. There's Tony Lockett down there with Mark Richardson. This is round 7. Two clubs that have started the 98 season very, very well. Buckley's been in very exciting form for the Pies. They're kicking to the right with a big monkey. One of the town's best known corners. They go down towards centre-half forward. Dunkley and co are going to have big jobs set out for them tonight. Sydney making a number of changes. Krasiska has it on half forward, tries to get it to Williams. Back to Krasiska again. He looks to surge it forward once more, down towards that 50-metre line. Early pressure on the Sydney defence. It passes O'Loughlin, comes back to Buckley. Buckley onto the left foot, in towards half forward. But once again, Sydney hold it up with Troy Luff. He defends, and he defends well. Giving it away to Nix, but it's going to come back. Luff has given it away. And the Pies are going to get the first set shot at goal. Up by Shane McInerney. John saying too high or holding on up the top there.
Luff was attempting to shepherd, and the signal given was certainly too high on Paul Williams. Williams certainly made sure that the umpire saw it, so hopefully we've got the benefit of a replay at some stage.
Yes, when the match is in the balance and it's trying to settle down, giving the opposition a set shot at goal from 20 metres out from when it's just completely unnecessary, very frustrating forward ball with the Swans.
Paul Williams has booted 5 goals so far this season. He's aiming to get the Pies a dream start. He's got exactly that. Collingwood on the ball in the opening minute.
Yes, and when the game, as I say, when it starts off for the first minute or two, we'll have a look at the incident here. Again, Luff marked the ball. That was simple enough. We'll just
well after this.
We'll just follow it through. And there it is. Gee, I'd say Williams ran into his arm, but anyway, the umpire saw it as a whole tackle, so well played Paul Williams, I guess.
Well played being the operative phrase.
So the half-forward flanker gets the Pies on the board for the start. First goal, always important. Sydney needing to reply out of the centre bounce. They win it, can't quite clear the area. There's that man again, Buckley. Locking up possessions, works with Krasiska to half forward, bounces over the top of Williams. Watson at half forward, does the tackling, then comes in a second time, forces the ball up.
Yes, and Mark Richardson has actually been given the big defensive job for Collingwood on Tony Lockett.
Buckley with a couple of early touches. The umpires, umpire Chris Mitchell, the one officiating at the moment, the most experienced of the three. It's the bouncing Luff to right hand, towards the centre, over the top. Sydney win the kick towards half forward. O'Loughlin in front. Liddell back cleanly for Collingwood. They work well across half back, looking to set up. Isn't an option, it's just a high ball. Creswell stands out of the contest, it drops short. Wharf attacks the ball. It's been his trademark throughout the year, pushing, shoving, Collingwood again from half back.
So he's been in good form, Terry. Rowan Wharf for Sydney. Here's Darren Creswell. The hand pass over the back. Graham Wright intercepts that. Kelly, that was beautiful to Wharf. Kelly having a better start this week than last. Comes over the top. Schäuble almost runs into his own man, but he charges at that ball and does well. Clears to the outer side. The big monkey and Greg Stafford. Quiet ball. Wayne Schwartz goes in there also for Sydney.
You wonder whether the monkey heard a whistle or something in the crowd. I mean, he just stopped.
Appeared to.
Just stopped as if the whistle had blown, but such wasn't the case.
Collingwood bench, the boys awaiting their chance. Only early days yet. As Stafford belts it down, but straight to Buckley. What a lightning start he's had. Williams, the flyer from the side, unable to take it. The Pies will get another chance. McDonald gets the hand pass away. They're looking dangerous. Inside 50, towards Rocker. Rocker couldn't take it on the chest. Got back up support. Was shot in towards goal as by the good Rocker. And Watson has put it through for the Pies.
Yes, well, absolutely no doubt. It might have been a lucky first goal to Williams from that free kick, but certainly this first 4 or 5 minutes of the game, Collingwood in complete control. Buckley's had 4 possessions already. He's been picked up by Paul Licurio, but I don't know how long that's going to last the way Buckley started. And then it's just the forward. It was good play by Rocker to make sure the ball dropped. Didn't allow Dunkley to spoil, and it was just the overlapping goal by Watson. Good play.
Severio Rocker provides the body contact at full forward. Watson does the roving. The Pies get their next goal. They're really working. There's 2 quick ones, and here they are again. Inside 50. Scotty Russell stands, pulls it around Dunkley in defence. Swans push it out to the outer side. Kelly, pleased to get a little bit of the leather this week. To half forward, the outer side. Contest, Bays from behind. Schäuble at the front. Knocks it on down. Scotty Crow works away. Back in short. Good lead there from Williams. Very busy at half forward early. Strong mark for his size. Found a loose target. Crow coming on down the ground. There's Pies everywhere. The kick not good enough. Luff clears the area for the Swans.
It's been all Collingwood early. This is Jason Mooney though on the outer side. He's a left footer and he's been called to play on, so he'll come inboard. Ignores Darren Creswell. Looks up towards centre half forward, towards Bays and Co. Back in this lineup. Off hands and in towards Locker. Tony Locker back in the lineup. Both he and Peter Philandia were late withdrawals last week at the SCG.
It's just a speed off the mark, Sandy, by Lockett then. The forward really always should be able to take the first step because it's his teammate kicking the ball. And Lockett, as soon as the quick kick came forward, he made the yard. And Richardson, once the big body was in front of Richardson, well, he just couldn't get around it to affect the spoil. Lockett's chance to really kick a badly needed goal for Sydney. It's early in the game, but all the body language and all the good vibes, I think, have been with Collingwood so far in this game.
Let's see what the 87 Brownlow medalist can do. He's kicked 19 goals so far this season, and he's hoping to post Sydney's first. This to close the gap to 6 points, 25 metres out. And the big man makes no mistake. Lockett gets his first, he gets Sydney's first.
Yes, we've got some interesting matchups around the midfield area. Licurio is coming from outside the square. We see here, again, it was a long kick forward. It's the front of the pack situation here. It's a good spoil back and just a quick kick forward onto the left foot, and again Lockett took the first step. That's the important point. It's just a concentration, short sloppy kick, forward gets the front spot.
Six points the margin. There's Johnny Stevens just walking out of camera as we look at the Sydney bench. A fantastic night for football, and it's Collingwood who leads. Monkhorst gets a bad bounce. Stafford gets a good one. Mooney overruns it, leaves it for Schwartz. He overruns it too. Socket off the ground, but it may help Kelly. No, it's Schäuble who intercepts. Gives it away towards Patterson, and Patterson runs. He's another boy from Norwood in South Australia. Jared Crouch is a young man who'll be making his debut from the Redlegs club later tonight. Back towards Mooney on centre wing. Head front spot, couldn't complete the mark. McDonald down to Schäuble. Gets away from Creswell. Schäuble's kick not good. Straight to Schwartz. They're under pressure early on, so too is Schäuble. Here's Scotty Russell. Just tries to tap it out. It's a tough ball to win this one. Don't worry about that. Michael looks down towards the forward line. They go inside 50 once again. Watson swoops on it. An excellent hand pass. He gives it across to Rocker. Sav on the left foot. Sav, it's wide, and he's got a player in the square saying, Why not me? Why not me? And that was Paul Williams. He's already kicked one, though. Rowan Wharf will bring it back into play.
So Collingwood's work across half-back and midfield, very good at the moment, using the ball, spinning it off with handball, creating run.
Just handling the ball just a bit better, Wheels, aren't they? Just
certainly are.
marginally, their ball handling just a bit sharper.
Very encouraging, that run from young Mel Michael. Looking very exciting across half-back.
Yeah, you see young players coming to the game every now and again, and he has just got the right defensive instincts. He knows when to spoil, and really, not gradually he'll get some offence in his game, Michael, but at the moment he's just settling in as a really good stopping defender.
So Monkhurst front position, just drops down. Saddington with a quick kick on out. Kelly in front of right, can't handle it. Right does well. Just a little kick off the ground. Quick hands again. Buckley on the run. The kick. Oh, sensational save. It splattered all over you, son. It's out loose now. Sydney working. Dunkley. Francisca. Strength. Fends off onto his left foot. Fade. One-on-one duel. Sydney in front. Wharf does well. Watson from behind. He's been paid.
Sam would be fairly pleased to see him take that mark.
Yes, when you lead out and the ball is delivered on your chest, the amazing thing is, we often say you don't really practice hard chest marks because most players these days take the ball out in the front of their body, and when it hit Rocker before, it just bounced off the chest. But that he just got his hand in front of Wharf, and the umpire deemed, John, that he actually got first grab and second grab.
Yeah,
Shane Watson.
Yeah, at least I have no doubt that Watson had first hands on the footy, so certainly a mark in my opinion. His right arm actually, or right hand grabs.
Just got it in. It was a good play, wasn't it?
Great play.
Sandy, you mentioned John Stevens before. They're trying to get early because just before the game started, he ran off the ground because I think he's got a hamstring injury at the moment, so we'll keep an eye on him.
Righto, Dipper. Thank you. Matthew Nix. Bring that ball back into play, finds Kelly.
So who's done a hamstring in the warm-up?
Well, it does happen, doesn't it? It does happen. Here's Saddington. He's an exciting young player. Jason Saddington from centre wing. Not a very pretty putt. Schäuble holds it up. Some form players in the side. Graham Wright has been an excellent touch. Schäuble up towards half forward. Patterson does some scouting. Watson is there also. Severio Rocco lurking on the sidelines with Andrew Dunkley. And there'll be another bounce. With umpire Gavin Dorr. Johnny Stevens looks as though he may get his chance. Just depending how he is. Still warming up. Stafford is used as a step ladder, but then he claims McDonald, Williams also. He's going to get a free kick. Was held, but he didn't have it. That will go back to McDonald. Williams still disentangling himself. Down towards half forward. Collingwood at the moment by 7 points. Danger signs up. They go in towards the pocket.
That's terrific play by O'Loughlin then. Really the temptation was just to attack the body of the Collingwood player Fuller, but he was just had the awareness just to jump at the ball coming back with a flight, and a boundary throw was drawn, but it could have very easily been a free kick.
That's right. Very, very easy to give away a free kick.
Oh, Dunkley's hand pass is dangerous. It was open the goal. Scotty Russell has kicked Collingwood's third, and the Pies away to a lightning start.
Well, they were off to a slow start last week, Sydney, and that really cost them the game in the end, and they've certainly started no better today. Just again, sloppy hand pass in defence, came back inside. When you're in trouble, under pressure, always go outside, and just Russell was in the right spot at the right time to kick the goal.
Worrying signs early on for Rocket Eats. Scotty Russell had a birthday yesterday. Well, he's just picked up a late present as the Pies are on the march. Wharf now sends Sydney into attack. Stopped by Scotty Crowe.
Scotty Crowe controlling across half back. 4 kicks to him to date. He links in with the other players across the back. Right, finds some room. Long probing kick right to centre half forward. That's putting pressure on the defence of Sydney. Nix gets away with the sprawl only as far as Buckley. Working in there with Fuller, high ball, Wild sits under it and takes it.
And Matchfield, I think, very quickly has been shifted on to Buckley at this point.
Fuller. Young Brad Fuller. Played with the Rams, the ACT Rams a couple of years ago at Boo last year. Has been a very busy player around the forward line for Collingwood in his games to date.
It would appear has the stopping job on Wayne Schwass, although he will be encouraged, not Fuller on me, I'm talking of Wild, who passed the ball over to Fuller.
So Brad Fuller, 30 metres out, into the man on the mark. Good work there. Pushed away, now Bays. Sydney should get something out of this. They must. Fuller redeems himself. Quick kick there by Russell. Oh, camped under again, Watson. They're getting too many easy balls in the
And the fumble by Kelly again. The hands are shocking tonight at the moment. Sydney, it was a quick one admittedly, a bang, a quick one, and Swash is coming off and hobbling off at that. But have a look there. This quick handball, no, it was just a little before that. The Kelly fumble set up the turnover of position.
So Watson, 1 goal, 1 on the board already. From 40 metres out. Boys behind it like it. He likes it. The umpire says yeah. Watson's second goal, 2-1. And the Magpies moving out to 4 goals to 1.
Yes, well, they mentioned, you can almost tell in the first minute, there's the hand pass and Kelly dropped it. As soon as he left the ball behind, well, it was in anyone's business then who was going to get it. Happened to be the Collingwood player. And Watson, well, he's just standing out there, really. It wasn't directed to him. Again, right play at the right time. Every luck of this game at this point is going with Collingwood.
And Sandy, you wonder just how much of heavy weather conditions in Sydney this week. They couldn't train outside. They've been restricted in their preparation. They seemingly have maybe lost that little bit of touch they needed.
Well, it certainly has at this point, but the game's early days.
Graham Wright's kick goes down to half forward. Luff belts it back towards centre wing. Jason Wild leads in the race. It is early days, Lee, but this is what Melbourne did to them last week at the SCG. Gave them a start. Kelly gets another touch across to Creswell. But it was a case of trying to catch them. Stewie Maxfield's left foot is a poor one. Under the chest of Darren Francisco. O'Reilly, veteran of Collingwood, looks towards half forward. Waiting down was Maxwell and Williams. It's Williams' ball. Gives it away to Patterson. 55 out. Goes with a short little chip. Intercepted to Watson. Tries to go back to Patterson again. Watson scoops it up. Watson does beautifully. And he wobbles it to hole. Yet another one. Sensational. Oh, what a start. If you want hot pies, come to the MCG. 5-1 plays 1 straight.
Yeah, we saw Collingwood do this about 4 weeks ago now against Richmond. They just, all their good players are getting the ball. The opposition at this point are just really not in the game. They're just really, the floodgates are opening and already a 4-goal lead. It's a big margin this early in the game. Watson, 3rd goal already. Opportunist play, 1 good mark and then just opportunist play.
So Shane Watson started his career with Collingwood as a forward. Spent many games in defence. Now this year back there, making the most of the opportunity. Sydney charged through. It's Maxfield on the left foot. It's the centre forward for the defence of Collingwood. No hesitation. That man controls this back line of Collingwood.
It looks like John Stevens is actually now under Buckley. Already Buckley's a tremendous problem for the Swans. I think Maxfield had him for a minute or two, and we're 16 minutes in, and Stevens, 3rd opponent for the quarter.
So Wayne Schwass sitting on the interchange bench. Early in the game, the ball comes back around. Too many pies. Crow dangerously into centre half back. Sydney Swans arm out against his old side. Gives it to the skipper. Kelly tosses it high, but it's wide. Out of bounds on the full.
Confidence was really a short-term thing in football, and very, very quickly in this game, the Swans players are looking shaky. That was really just a put on your boot and hope for your best by Kelly. Had a lot more room than that, but the pressure of the way this game started, he just really overreacted, overplayed it.
Liddell's kick finds Bays. He's a beautiful deliverer of the ball. Goes back in towards Lockett territory. Richardson that does well. Now here's an opportunity for Sydney to break the ice. Robbie Armand gets his first. And Sydney get their second after Lockett kicked an early one. Armand hits his old side. It's 5-1, plays 2 straight.
Yes, and really what Sydney have done, actually, a couple of times they've gone forward, they've kicked a couple of goals, and that's kept them within 19 points, when really this whole first quarter, I think it was something like 40-odd kicks to 25 to Collingwood's way. Collingwood have dominated, but they've got a couple of goals on the board from limited opportunities.
Ahmed has Sydney second. 31 plays 12. First quarter action from the MCG as Monkhorst beautifully. Williams Russell down suddenly inside 50. Pressure again on Rowan Wharf and co. And great pressure too because Jason Wilde nipped in, couldn't take it. Russell gives it back to him. Wilde from 40 metres. A floating kick goes into the pocket. And it is taken over the line in that right forward pocket.
Teddy, we saw Wayne Swass come off the ground recently, and look, it's not his ankle, which has been complained about the last couple of weeks. It's more of a hip injury, his left hip, and at the moment he's receiving the painkiller on the bench.
Thanks, Tipper. So bad news for Sydney and Wayne Swass. He's been firing, and they need him firing. Russell in the thick of things once again. Krasiska from 55. Bends one in towards the forward line. Buckley is lurking there dangerously. Buckley the top. Oh, how was this? They are loving this.
Yeah, that's a classy finish then by Nathan Buckley. Important point was the ball was just a ball. It was just, have a look at this. It just goes into fresh air. It wobbles around. Buckley just attacked it harder than any other player. Worked his way through the traffic and really left side, non-dominant side. Straight over the goal in Pompeye's head. All the Collingwood players at 7th possession already for Nathan Buckley.
Buckley with 7, Watson with 6 disposals, Scotty Russell with 8, Scott Crow at half back. He's had 5. The Pies dominating the ball at the moment, and Sydney just too slow to react. Finally, after a couple of chances, they go forward, but not far enough. Mel Michael repels, pushes on out wide. Patterson takes the mark. Our forward target just inside the line. He's given it to McDonald. Wayne Swass. Fair bit of tape being used going around there. The kick to half forward. Dunkley from behind takes the mark. Run across the back. Nix. Now there's no target on the wing where Nix is going, so he's just got to go wide and hope. Scotty Russell's the first man there. They've just got no system coming out. Scotty Crow, bigger pardon, comes back in now. Monkhorst sets up the centre forward perfectly. The ruckman flooding into centre forward, finding space will always put pressure on the opposition defence.
Particularly when they know that the Swans are going to get their men back. Stafford will be looking to get back in front of Rocker, so Monkhorst will be cruising around the front of the centre square. He'll always there to be used.
So Licuria, left foot towards the wing. Stafford takes it, steps away. Is their chance. There's space and there's a couple of Swans. Now there's more space and there's one Swan. It's O'Loughlin. Left foot bounces it through. O'Loughlin's first, Sydney's third.
It's a good bit of play then, wasn't it? Good contested mark by Stafford. Played the ball on. And then again, there's a situation where we saw O'Loughlin in defence do exactly the same thing, running back with the flight of the ball, but was able to just get his fist there. And then just a one-handed, just straight into his possession. And terrific left foot across the body. Again, a couple of classy finishes. We've seen some great goals kicked in this early part of the game.
Sydney stay in touch. 19 points the margin. Mooney doing the ruck work. Kelly tries out of the middle, not successful. Maxfield is. Stewie Maxfield down towards the 50. Well picked up by Ahmed. Back to Maxfield again. He wants Lockett. He's on the lead and he's got it.
That was great play. The handball back to Maxfield was able to create a little bit of space where he had a full vision and the hole was right there for Plugger to come to.
And already Tony Shaw would be wondering about this. This was just a situation where Lockett got the first step. Richardson is bigger and taller to compete with Lockett in the marking, in the body drills. But on the speed off the mark, then Mel Michael is probably a bit more able to run with the lead to effect a spoil. So just at the moment, I think Richardson has to try and take the front position away from Lockett.
While he's lining up, Wayne Swass is back. Well, that's good news. Bowles comes off. An important kick though for Tony. 40 metres. back, but not enough from Malone. He's got 1-1. Sydney has 3-1.
Lee, Collingwood have had all the play in this quarter, but the Swans are hanging in there. I just reckon in the background there's a lack of experience there as far as Gaines is concerned, because this gets a nice play on the wing.
Yeah, you're right, Dip. The problem is at the moment the Swans just don't look like getting there.
Trouble here. The Devils' kick has been taken by Armat. He's tucked tightly in the pocket. It's a sensational kick by Robbie Armat. That's a goal. Doesn't it say who is Collingwood former opponents? I'm still here.
Yes, well, he really had to kick it. It was just a bad defensive error, the kick-in errors. And there was a few players of Swans' teammates making position close to the front of the goals. But Armat, well, fair enough. He backed himself and says, I can kick this. And he had a crack at it, and he was good enough to handle the pressure and score.
So Sydney, with 3 of the last 4 goals, have now settled. Armat with 2 of them. Hamstring early in the year, but Robbie's back. Collingwood now looking for something with Sydney now, drawing out. The spoil was good, pushing it down. Krasiska gathers it, goes wide towards the line. Schwass, Russell's there with him, allows it to go over.
Both players were just going to let it go over then, Swash and Russell. I don't think either of them were that keen to do anything but contest the ground level of a boundary throw-in.
Longhurst, Stafford, the umpire lets that one go. Stafford does the ground level stuff and steps out beautifully, if you don't mind. 20 metres out from goal. The contest forms, looking for Rovers. Collingwood through Shawbull, just get the foot to it. Wright gets a left hand to it, knocks it further forward. Michael, he's caught, he's in trouble. The umpire will bounce.
What do you think, John?
Yeah, well, look, the umpires, from what I can gather, have been told to give the players a little bit longer to dispose of the footy. And now we've seen Michael actually have the ball momentarily and then tackled front on by Schwass.
In the spirit of the law, it should be play on, shouldn't it, really? It certainly didn't evade a tackle.
Under 4.5 minutes in this first quarter remaining. Michael O'Loughlin over the line.
I think the one part of the game where there's Tony Shaw in the new coach's box in the southern stand, only built this year. But certainly in the ruck, Stafford doing a good job. Again, the one-on-one ruck drills against Monkhurst.
Very difficult in coaches' box than the one we see at Victoria Park now.
Yes, it's a fair bit more modern and a bit bigger, Sandy.
I think they've been very kind. Here's Stevens. Johnny Stevens sets sail for goal. Looks for Tony Lockett. Goes across the face. Craig O'Brien is there also.
Well, the game has really changed complexion this last 5 minutes. All of a sudden, the Swans have picked up the tempo. Their first 15 minutes was abysmal, but all of a sudden they're starting to get a bit more of the ball.
In the danger zone once for Collingwood. Schäuble over the top.
It's an interesting situation here because Monkhurst is back with Stafford, so you've got Mooney v Schäuble in these ruck contests, the same as you'll have Rocker versus Dunkley at the other end, and the Rocker and Mooney should be better at the ruck contest than their respective opponents.
Mooney again. Looking down towards Wayne Schwass. Jason Wilde's got him and he's going nowhere.
The one disadvantage, Terry, of having the one-on-one situation with the ruckman, isn't it? You do get, I mean, I would be nervous if I was Collingwood Schäuble doing the ruck work against Mooney, and I'd be nervous down the other end from Rodney Eade's point of view when Dunkley's contesting against Rocker.
There's no doubt about that, and then there's always the option of the centre half who are just slipping out of the contest and being free.
Mooney to do it again. Up against Schäuble. Crow. Heads for some space. Goes to the outer side. Stewie Maxfield leads in the race. Lacuria is there to do the shepherding, and he does it well too. Spears it back in towards Armat, who's kicked a couple. Claimed by Buckley. He's ripped to the ground with the ball. Again, the crowd ball from Sydney fans.
It's an interesting contrast, wasn't it? He's a pretty good ball handler, Robbie Armat, but he had a first grab at it. Buckley just picked it up. At the moment, Buckley is only just touching the ball and he takes possession. Terrifically clean with his ball handling.
Robbie Armat, 2 goals in the first quarter. 2.5 minutes of play left just on the 50-metre line for the Sydney Swans. Armat comes through again. Feeds the handball back, but gives it straight to Schäuble. He called for it, so he gave it to him. The kick goes on out wide. Watson. Defensive side of the wing towards half forward. Nix works Williams. Williams works Nix. Assistance comes from Saddington and he's allowed to step on out. Drags the ball back around towards the wing. Contest here. Here's Luck from half back. Sydney are building. There's a contest here. They'll go over the back. They can run onto this one. Plugger paves away, but they miss it and Rock cleans up. In defence with Collingwood. Slots it into Liddell and he should settle down.
Game of inches, isn't it? If Lockett had just been able to direct the ball a foot goal side, then the Swans players would have run onto the ball.
Step on a big fly down the side. Got a little bit sharp.
I must on the Collingwood forward line. Watson is just looking a little bit too slippery for Luff.
John, there we see a little push on Alex McDonald paid against, I think it was, who was it? Rowan Wolf.
Watson gets the hand pass away. Patterson round the body. No one at home. And Nix defends for Sydney. He's got Maxfield. Uses him at half back. Stewie Maxfield can run down towards centre wing. He's saying to Monkey, come on.
He's got to use the ball well here. Must do it here.
Well, he's put some pressure on O'Brien. Couldn't take it cleanly. Lucuria is there as well.
I think he looked up then, Maxfield, and there wasn't any forwards making position for him, so he really had to overplay it. But there's a bit of a rule in footy. If you bounce the ball, you've got to make sure a teammate gets it, because your teammates don't know what you're going to do with it. They don't know whether you're just going to keep running or whether you're going to kick it.
Francisco is held then, but play goes on. Monkhorst kicks towards right half forward. Scotty Russell gets a poor bounce. Saddington works hard, and he goes again, the youngster. He needs help from Nix. Williams in strongly. Nix has still got it. Tucked it in underneath him. And Nathan Buckley thinks he's rather fortunate to get away with it.
Yeah, here's Stewie Maxfield.
He runs, he looks up, he knows that Monkhorst's the only player in front of him, so really he's probably got the space. Thinks about inside, but then just has to kick it.
Close to siren time, and Mark Kinnear's just come onto the ground for Sydney. Francisco as the hand pass away. That's to Liddell, down to the pocket. O'Loughlin's got to defend to the line.
And you see there exactly how Dunkley plays, Rob. When the ball's in the air, Dunkley attacks the ball. And he just depends on his ability to jump, get his hands on the ball, or jump to spoil. And it's been very effective over the years against Rocket, not trying to get body to body, just make sure he gets his hands on the ball so Rocket can't mark it.
Well, an excellent first quarter early on as lead.
Oh, well, absolutely, with Collingwood in the first 15 or 20 minutes. I mean, really, the Swans put in a very poor first 10 or 15 minutes, but to their credit, they got a couple of goals early on when they were really struggling to get much of the ball. Then eventually they got the last couple of goals, so Collingwood have got the 12-point lead, but the Swans certainly finished that first quarter the better.
So we'll take a break. It's 6-1 Collingwood, Sydney a 4-1.
The competition doesn't. The Mitsubishi Express, working man's best friend.
Look how different they are.
Welcome back to the MCG. These three gentlemen on my left are absolutely riveted, aren't you, boys, about this game tonight? Been a good first quarter.
It has. Well, Collingwood dominated the quarter, but the Swans are still within 12 points, so that's good news for the Swans. Had something like 30-odd more possessions, Collingwood, so really they had a lot more of the good players, but the Swans not too far away on the scoreboard.
Righto, boys, let's check out the Mitre 10 contenders, and my word, they put some work into this one, haven't they? And these are the banners in contention for that fabulous prize that will be announced at three-quarter time of this game. And our thanks to Mitre 10 for their support. Speaking of handymen, well, we won't because we'll cross down to Dipper.
Thanks very much, Sandy. As Lee said, the Swans certainly got back into that game in the last part of that quarter, and they know it too. There's a lot of energy in that huddle there, and Rocket just said, well done, guys. And on the other side of Collingwood, he said, don't get trapped into looking for Sav Rocket all the time, but even though he's the focal point, look over his head at times because you've got Shane Watson going to open goal and Williams as well. So a lot of energy in that Sydney huddle, which was good news for Rocket there.
Thank you, Dipper. I haven't seen any fireworks, Dip, for Marcus Hahn's 21st, but I hope he's having a good time in the members.
I hope he is too, eh?
6-1 plays 4-1 as we go into the second quarter. And it's Buckley who sets Collingwood alight down towards the half-forward line there. All of a sudden, inside 50, Dunkley moves beautifully, gets the hand pass away towards McPherson. He loses it. Kelly was taken high.
Oh, and he got the tackle, but they were lucky Swans. They almost worked themselves into trouble then.
Comes wide to Saddington. And from half-back, he looks down towards right half-forward. Sydney anxious for the first goal. Schwass was his target. Pushed away from him. Back to Schwass again. Delightfully done. It came from Kinnear. The left footer gives the hand pass away to Kelly. Kelly stabs in towards the forward line.
Lee, that is just a lack of experience in that back line there to let one Schwass do exactly what he did then.
Well, he is pretty slippery, Dipper. I think they were trying to tackle, but he certainly almost ran himself into trouble again. But here we saw Kelly just saw Lockett go to space, and that's where the good forwards. Lockett really started to move as soon as Kelly received the ball. He knew that there was space there to move into.
20 goals so far this season. 45-degree angle. 40 metres out. 21 goals this season for Tony Lockett.
Well, again, I mentioned the first quarter. Just at the moment, Lockett is finding the forward space. He's not taking those cuts. I mean, here we see, as soon as Schwass, here we see, couldn't get himself through now. As soon as Kelly got the ball, Lockett was off. He was off into space. That's what the good forwards do, and Richardson really just wasn't able to cover the lead, and a good straight kick. So Sydney worked their way back into this contest after a very, very slow start.
And just the combination Rocket was looking for to get going. Schwass to Kelly, to Lockett. They start it, and Kelly starts it again. Next from half, back to O'Loughlin. The Swans are within 6 points. The first goal of the second quarter, Plugger provides a lead. It's ignored. There's a goal square. 2 Swans, 2 Magpies. The defence of the Pies, Krasiska, forces it through.
Terry, Craig O'Brien's come off the ground. He's hurt his left knee there, so we'll just keep an eye on that one. We'll keep you up to date with it.
So O'Brien just returning to the side after missing a week with a calf injury. Mooney, Greswell, O'Loughlin, right foot drags it around. Discipline, great spot for the contest. Plugger couldn't get it, Richardson does. Swoops it away, the Magpies a heap of space. Scotty Crow looks towards half forward. Rocket, Dunkley, Williams at ground level. Feeds back into Crow, under pressure. Rocker just thumps it out towards the boundary line. McDonald sits there, Wharf sits there as well, and he'll be thrown in half forward.
I think Tony Shaw's decided to push Rocker up towards the half-forward line, and really Watson is effectively Collingwood's full forward at the moment. I think he's decided, Tony Shaw, that Rocker and Dunkley, it's better for Collingwood for that pair to be more up towards the half-forward line than back towards the goal square.
Almost a high tackle. Goes unnoticed, and Creswell continues on. Graham Wright has a bit to say, and so too Stu Maxfield.
The point with that move is that with Watson back, I think Luff is more suited to play on Watson as a full-back type player than as what you would call a flanking pocket type defender.
Sydney have won the last 3 encounters against Collingwood. Stevens, a chance to clear. The trip, well, the advantage is going to be paid. They've got a chance now to run it out. Rowan Wharf does well. He's been in very good form. Here's Jason Mooney as Wharf wanders back to defence. Mooney's kick drops a little short. Oh, Lachlan does marvellously well.
Yes, that's what body use is all about, wasn't it, Sandy? He just knew the flight of the ball. He had to stop. And have a look at this on the replay. He gets there a little bit too early. Here we'll see that the ball is delivered. Didn't quite see it, but he got there too early, O'Loughlin. He just held his ground, pushed back hard into Liddell, and that was enough just to stop Liddell being able to jump and spoil. And then on the second grab, brought the ball down. A couple of players, Armat and O'Loughlin particularly, been pretty slippery up forward for the Swans.
This to level the scores here at the MCG. 40 metres out. Well, Sydney have hit back, haven't they? And they've hit back really hard. Michael O'Loughlin gets his second goal. He kicked one in the first. And what a ball game we've got here.
Yeah, we just saw the replay. Here we go. Didn't put the push back of the body. It's no use jumping at the ball. Push back hard. That just stops the defender's momentum. And then it becomes not a too difficult mark. So good play by Michael O'Loughlin. Excellent finish as well. Very dangerous player.
Tony Shaw, 313 games as a player, number 51 as a coach, and all of them have been hot. Knocked on out, half forward again. The defence of Collingwood under a little pressure here now. And the ball will be thrown in at half forward.
And Lee, just before Michael O'Loughlin took that mark, he saw Tony Lockett behind him. He gave him some great voice there. He just caught him right back, which is just good news for a young player like that.
That's what you want to know from your teammates. Come back, you're clear. You don't believe it, but come back.
And at the same time, Dibber, what was Tony Lockett saying to Chad Liddell? I'm coming.
I'm coming to get you.
Actually, Dibber, that's interesting because you noticed last week there was a distinct lack of talking amongst the Sydney boys against Melbourne.
Exactly right, Sandy.
So Sydney have squared the game up after being in a lot of trouble, trailing by 25 points at one stage in the first quarter. Saddington across the body, will reach into the forward line. Patterson getting back.
Patterson doing pretty well on Creswell at the moment. On that duel, Creswell usually a high possession getter for the Swans. Only had 4 handballs and they've been pretty obscure.
So Patterson just deliberately towards the wing. Liddell in front. Spoil over the line and out of bounds.
And that was young Mark Kinnear. Yes, a very aggressive play, the big spoil from behind it. A lot of people don't take any notice of, but it's just a litmus test, symptomatic of the team's attitude if you really jump and punch aggressively from behind.
So Sydney coming into the game, making 6 changes. A late one, Paul Roos, out of the side. His experience definitely would be missed, but Sydney now being able to settle. Putting the scoreline back to 6-1 apiece. At half forward for that side for the Swans. Mooney around the body. Kinnear back to Mooney. The left footer couldn't get on out. Hesitation. Godden on the ground to Buckley towards the centre. Charging it down is Dunkley. He's got away from Severio Rocker. Out to Maxfield. He's coming back inside. Can't get away. Right. It's hot in the kitchen. Finally, it's Wicks who steps on out. Passes the ball in sensationally to Rocket. Hot, tight stuff in the centre of the ground, and Sydney win it.
I think we see that situation where Dunkley, all the Swans players are back with him because he led Rocker to the ball. It was a dangerous bouncing ball, and then Dunkley laid this tackle as well. Terrific play in midfield. And then Lockett again, he's just running into space. They're pretty simple stuff that Lockett's doing at the moment. Just running into the front position, running into the low chest marks.
I certainly in that huddle then at quarter time, the energy level, they've certainly come out firing. Because last week they were flat as a tack.
So Sydney with the first 2 goals of the second quarter. Tony Lockett 2-1 for the evening, giving him 21 goals, 9 for the season. So accuracy is with Tony. Does it stay with Tony? It does. Swans in front.
Well, Will, sometimes full forward's a simple place to play. If you're able to find the space to lead and teammates have got the time to get it in, have a look at this. Have a look at Dunkley there. Have a look at him leave Rocker. He tries to get through, then he just a bad handball, but again he makes up for it. Have a look at this, right gets it. Dunkley, midfield turnovers, the field's open, and Nix it was. Lockett leaves the space. It's just so simple. The tackle set it up.
15 effective scoring shots a goal, and we've got 13 goals on the board. 6-1 plays 7-1. What a game here at the MCG. Stafford out of the middle. Patterson tries to take it. Can't do so for Collingwood. Tunnel ball out the back door. Lucuria works hard. Stevens is there as well. Stevens gets a high ball. O'Loughlin will wait at the back. He's got support down at the front. Lucuria's hand pass back towards O'Loughlin. Danger here. Maxfield in towards Lockhart. Over the top it goes. Richardson defends. He's not out of it yet.
All they had to do is lay the tackle of Swans, and it was a free kick, but I think they just were a bit over-anxious, really. And again, Rocker, I think Tony Shaw's given up that Dunkley's got Rocker tonight, so Rocker's in the ruck. Monkhurst given a spell on the bench. So given that Stafford, I think, was doing fairly well. Let's have a look at this. Again, at ground level, Richardson even looks quicker. He takes on the tackle. Well, I don't know, that fell out of his hands. What's that?
Yeah, I'd call play on
there. I thought if he didn't I suppose he wasn't tackled. That was the point, wasn't it, John?
It was a pretty feeble tackle.
Yeah, knocked out of his hand rather than being tackled.
Richardson brings it back into play. Shawble gets the hand pass away to Graham Wright. He tumbles it down to Buckley.
I think Buckley might be in at centre half forward. I think that's the way they've altered their forward structure.
Well, he's 80 metres out, but we know how he can deliver a ball. Down into the right forward pocket. McDonald probably won't get there in time. Rowan Wharf is right there with him. Big comeback by Sydney after Collingwood made a flying start. With early goals, Shane Watson was in the thick of things with 3 in that first quarter. Rocker doing the ruck work. Scotty Russell, a high ball, a centering ball into half forward. The courage of Dunkley standing again. He gets it across to Stewie Maxfield. Maxfield looks towards Mooney on the outer side. He got a decent old shove. The play goes on. Richardson looks down towards right half forward. There he is again.
You reckon Dunkley's confidence is up? His confidence is up.
To Stevens. And Johnny Stevens ambles out of defence. Got to get past half forward. Stafford trying to beat a couple. Needs assistance. Mooney was almost put in a headlock. But play goes on. Schwartz takes the hand pass. First one side, then forced back onto the right. In towards half forward. Cresswell had to beat about 3 of them.
And Michael's back onto Lockett and Mark Richardson up to centre half back. I guess where the way the game was evolving, it was really the defender who could spoil is what Tony Shaw has gone with, rather, and we see the turnover.
So Severio Rocker taking the mark in defence and immediately turned back to Schwartz.
He's a player who never kicks the ball short, Severio Rocker. Essentially, he's having shots at goal.
Schwartz into the pocket, and who's in there, the big bloke?
I mentioned the Severio Rocker thing. When he tries to pass the ball, it's not something he does in his football. Most of the time, he's having shots at goal. One thing to kick the ball 60 metres, another to kick it 30 metres and control it.
Well, you should know, you never passed anyway.
But I could kick 80 metres at goal, Dip, but you knew that. Except when you were there, Dip, I'd pass it to you.
Yeah.
So this is a 30-metre shot for Tony Lockett. Up against the boundary line. For number 3 for the quarter to him. The red and white flags are up behind. The field umpire says it's a goal too, so does the goal. 4 goals for Tony Lockett. 4 goals, 1. And his finishing work is just at the moment the difference between the two.
Yes, he is, although I must say, again, it's been simple full forward play. Leading to space, Mark kicked the goal. There, Sir Rocker just chipped it up. And then Swashy put Lockett on a pretty severe angle. Again, the ball was kicked too hard, put in control of 30-metre pass. Bad turnover.
Well, Shane Watson kicked 3 for Collingwood in the first quarter. Lockett has 3 for Sydney in the second, and he's got a total of 4, and they go down towards the danger zone once again. Michael comes charging out for Collingwood. Pokes a little jab up towards Scotty Crowe. Socket out of the air by Scotty Russell. Only as far as Stevens. He does well to turn the tide. Back towards right half forward. Working hard for Collingwood has gotten to the bottom of the pack.
And since you get that last centre bounce, Sandy, Collingwood dropped 2 or 3 players spare in defence. Obviously, there was 3 Swans players up the other end, so maybe Tony Shaw just thinks, let's get some numbers back at this point because the Swans are in control of the game. We've just got to make sure the margin doesn't get too great.
13 points is the margin at the moment. Lockett's doing it from behind. It's dropped. Saddington pounces upon him. Comes out the back door. Michael gets another chance. Williams caught. Sensational tackle, but the play on is the final call. And that came from umpire Gavin Dorr. Wide towards Buckley on centre wing.
And that was interesting. Michael positioned himself about 5 metres in front of Lockett, so when the quick kick thrown forward, Michael was in the front position. He unfortunately fumbled the ball, but he's going to take the front.
All I got from Johnny Russo then was a wry smile.
Well, I think the force of the tackle knocked the ball out, so it was happy with it, right?
Good on you, Johnny. Here's Rowan Ward.
Maxfield's been very dangerous, Sandy, hasn't he?
He has, Stewie Maxfield, and away he goes again, down towards the 50. Oh, what a fly from Desert Creswell! And then he's undone it with a hand pass. Well, if it worked, it would have been one of the plays of the night.
But yeah, they're using it so quick, I must say. I don't think we could blame Paul Kelly for that. The hand pass just came behind. Fantastic jump and mark. We know he can do this, Creswell. It wasn't in front of it. It was quick and it had to be in front, but it just went slightly behind.
So the ball bounced as Stafford pushes wide. Williams takes it for Collingwood. He goes wide still. Godden just goes along the ground. There's not much there for the Pies. They lead in the race. That could use the ball.
And as this is a free kick on the wing, Collingwood about 2 players forward of centre. As I say, they're just pushing their men back. Just see if they can just block up the Swans forward half just for this part of the game.
So the Collingwood forward line, a shorter forward line now, so they're lacking that target at centre half forward. They'll need to run the ball to get it out. It's back there again. Wharf puts it to half forward. Down at ground level. Godden works with Williams. Now there's some space. There's a run from Rocker. He should keep going. No, he doesn't. Now he does. The second one on over the top. Patterson runs onto it. The bounce favours him eventually. Francisca provides a shepherd. It's building up into about 30 metres out from goal. Tarrant from behind. Can't do it. Watson rolls. Can't collect it. Wharf. Kick doesn't get out. Crowe brings it back around towards Pugsley. His kick doesn't reach it. And Luff sits back to take the mark.
That's the problem. If they've got such a short forward like Collingwood, they have to try and position it. If they kick it up in the air, they're not going to make too many marks overhead.
Troy Luff towards Mooney and Creswell. Liddell around the body. It's a rainmaker. High into full forward. They want someone to do the roving work or maybe shot off the ground. Buckley is lurking there. Have a look at this.
That's amazing. He was running for the boundary line. He's probably 2 metres in, left foot across his body, and we all thought he had a chance of kicking it. And he almost did. It's just terrific ball handling. Good play by Kennedy. He made sure the ball, but have a look at this. That was going to be a miracle goal. Almost, not quite.
Lee, South Rocker's gone from full forward to centre half forward to right to centre half back. Now he finds himself a full
I think,
back.
yeah, because Stafford's gone to the full forward line, Rocker's just gone with him.
Wharf kicks it out. Brought back by Lucuria towards centre wing. Liddell chase may keep this in play. And in fact does. Off to Graham Wright. Collingwood prepared and mount something once again. Jason Wild kicks into half forward. O'Loughlin waited at the back. Sydney have the numbers. Johnny Stevens had to be accurate, and he was to Wayne Schwass. Away he scoots.
It's interesting. Coaching by Rodney Eade to push Stafford forward, to push Rocket to the fence.
Saddington and Maxfield. Maxfield. Wide and high towards the 50.
Gee, that was a forward playing in the back line, wasn't it?
Well, it was, yeah. Well, he went for the mark, I guess.
Yeah,
he wasn't
don't
sure.
do that there, Sats.
Although he did have the jump, but yes, I guess if you've got a Stafford v Rocker duel, make sure it's in the Swans forward half. That's sure Stafford's going to be a better forward than Rocker is defender.
Danger signs again for Collingwood. O'Loughlin, a high kick. Lockett has got to beat a couple. 1, 2, chance. Down goes the umpire. Up gets Gavin Moore and says it's yours, Tony.
Well, this is the difference, isn't it? On Richardson, he led into space. He was too quick. Against Michael, he's just too big. All he did there, have a look at this. It's a long high kick. Lockett just stuck his chest into Michael's back. Just outreached him, just body on body, got the best position. He certainly was pushing, but it would have been a brave call.
Yeah, it's a big chest, mate.
It's a big chest. Although it might have been
I don't think it was his chest, though, Dipper.
Okay, this for number 5 for Tony Lockett. Just to stretch the margin to 18 points in a remarkable turnaround. 25 metres out directly in front. He has kicked number 5. Sydney on a roll.
But just on that, Lee, that is a very difficult decision for the umpire to make. He has to determine whether Lockett's prime objective was to contest the mark. If he considers his prime objective was to contest the mark and that contact from the back was coincidental that we see coming here, if he deems that contact from the back as coincidental with Lockett's prime objective of contesting the mark, then he'll allow the mark to stand. So it is a very difficult area, and when you talk about things like prime objective, it's tough.
The Swans are out by 18 points. 5 goals to 0 in this second quarter. Accurate use of the ball in front of goal by both sides, but Sydney getting more of it. 9-2 to 6-2. And here's another chance. Stafford, a 30-metre handball. Saddington pushes into the back of Scotty Russell. Russell gets a free. Advantage given to Richardson. Towards half forward. Sydney getting back. The ball's loose at ground level. Watson. Couple of goals early. Looks for the free. The umpire doesn't give it. He has to work it again. Luck wins it. Just wants to clear the area. Does with a high kick towards the wing. It rolls. It's over.
Yes, and Rocker back to centre half forward now, and Francis into the ruck. So yes, there's just a couple of players I reckon have got the Swans really into this. Lockett's kicked the goals, but I reckon Stafford in the ruck has been terrific. Maxfield's run around midfield. That's been the coups.
So Sydney again repel it back their way. Some 20 metres. It is now the forward side of the centre. The Sydney box. Dennis Carroll on the left. Rodney Eade in the middle and George Stone at the back.
What the message would have been to Rocker from Tony Shaw going back to centre forward. OK, mate, we just need you to go back. We need you to kick a score. We'll have faith that you're going to be able to do it.
So here comes the chance now for the Pies. Williams gives it to Patterson, gives it to Watson. Can't complete it. Rocker now the chance. It's at ground level. Throws the left foot on it. Bounces high. Can't get on past there. McPherson, the first man back, forces it through. So a little bit of something there from South.
Collingwood's last goal was the 19-minute mark of the first quarter, so they're certainly having a long drought.
4.5 minutes remaining. Scotty Crowe, they give it to Jason Wilde, they give it to Paul Williams to try and break that drought, but no. Slow and low.
Again, confidence. Now Collingwood are down on confidence. It just changes as the game develops.
McPherson kicks to half back. Nick Stafford is in there. He gets it out in front of Ryan Wolf, who sees it dribble over the line.
I reckon if Collingwood had been 4 goals in front, Williams would have been a certainty to kick that. But when you're struggling on the scoreboard, things aren't working for you, all of a sudden the hands just go very tight.
And if is a marvellous word.
It's a marvellous word.
Stevens over the top. Buckley waits his chance. Saddington was ready to scoot away, but umpire Shane McInerney said no.
Saddington's been good tonight, Sandy. I think he's been very, very solid for the Swans.
Yes, he's been busy. Maxfield's been busy. Picked over a dozen kicks. There's Williams and Saddington at the end. Is that scoop, but not so subtly done.
It was either a scoop or a very accurate knock on, John.
It's pretty hard to be that accurate with a fist, isn't it? It's when they lift the ball like that with an open hand, then the umpires will invariably penalise it for incorrect disposal.
Oh, Nix has run a long way, but he gets his kick up towards the right half forward. Crowe pushing along in front. Taking it over is Darren Creswell, receiving plenty of attention from Richardson.
I just wonder whether down there there's a little bit of moisture, a bit of dew forming on the grass. I wonder if Dipper's down there. We might be able to just have a quick look at that for us.
Mooney palms it to Schwartz. We're on that lovely left foot. That's fine.
Yes, Lee, there is a bit of dew at down ground level at the moment. That's why players are slipping.
Thank you, Dipper. Lucuria up towards half forward. Captain Kelly.
Lee, that was a perfect example of confidence in a side. The two Collingwood players did not have the same conviction to get the ball as Paul Kelly did.
It was all about timing, wasn't it? Really, Liddell had the first leap at it, but he was down before the ball arrived.
Sensational. So the captain set to stretch the lead, and he's done exactly that with his first goal. Gee, what a quarter of football this is, Lee.
Well, it's must have been an amazing turnaround. All of a sudden, now Collingwood just can't get a sniff of it, and the Swans have gone to a 4-goal lead. It's just really they could have reversed the jumpers the way they've played. The Swans in this quarter, Collingwood early in the first were terrific, and now all of a sudden it's the Swans who are just really surging. Have a look at this. Geez, Liddell, it was a bad loop, wasn't it? It was a bad judgment call.
Sydney with the last 8 goals, and Tony Shaw very busy on the phone. Really, he's looking for the half-time break. We're 23 minutes into the second quarter. Collingwood push forward once again. Dunkley, his confidence has just risen and risen the longer the game's gone. Kinnear can't get it away, comes back into it, tackling, Shaw sets on out, falls at the last moments, forward handball, Buckley, looking just to find someone behind the contest who's got vision down the ground. It is Crow, has the vision, gives it to Williams, here's the lead, there's the kick, that's the mark. Pugsley's got onto it.
Well, we didn't quite see it ahead of the play then, but when Kinnear went to kick that ball and it was smothered, it was going to go to Creswell, who was 30 metres on his own out on the Swans forward flank. And they're the kind of turnovers you've got to do. So that defensive smother has basically created the turnover and effectively set up this Collingwood shot at goal.
So Andrew Pugsley to boot round 4, kicked a couple of goals off the bench here tonight. Brad Seymour also off the bench, has just come on for his first run for the year, but it's Pugsley, the ball's with him, he's kicked, the umpire, one behind.
Those things tend to happen when you're struggling, don't they, Wheels? All of a sudden it just doesn't work. And again, the Williams situation here. Williams, good delivery this. He just saw that Pugsley was moving into space.
Kicks on out wide. McDonald does the spoiling war from the front of out in front of Schwartz. Ran down by Matty Francis. He then just throws the leg at it and the ball bounces inside the field of play, right on the line. Watson wants to keep it alive. He can't. It'll be thrown in.
That was poor play by Wayne Schwartz. All he had to do was keep the ball running forward. He tried to take possession. Have a look at this. He tries to take possession. He doesn't know that there's a Swans player 10 metres forward. Get the ball forward running.
The other thing, Lee, he actually didn't reach up to take it. He bent arms and allowed the ball to come through in that moment.
Really didn't have a great awareness at that point who was around him. If he had a bit of awareness, he would have known. All he had to do was get the ball running forward.
Speaking of running, look at Kelly. Almost fell over himself. He was going that quickly. Schäuble has been tackled by a couple.
I think Kelly copped one high, Sandy.
Might have got the high tackle or opened the eye or something.
Yeah, that's why he went to ground. It stunned him and he just lost his footing.
Might be able to have a look in the closing minute of play.
Yes.
Was it there?
I think it was just that little poke in the eye.
Poked in the eye there, yep.
It's on centre wing. Kinnear doing the ruck work. Francisco is there, unable to take it cleanly. McDonald a chance now, but Klein, not before he gets the hand pass away. Kelly still receiving some attention, obviously feeling a little uncomfortable. But he's got half time to think about it. As Buckley kicks to half forward. Gavin Francisco can run into goal. There's only seconds remaining. He's going to have to kick it now. He kicks towards goal.
It's a layup. It's a layup.
It took them an entire quarter. But they've done it.
Well, that was quite amazing, wasn't it? Yes, we knew the countdown was coming. We could see it on our monitor here. Gavin Francisco didn't know that. He didn't know that he had about half a second to spare, and it was a close call, close goal. But they're the kind of morale boosters one needs late in the quarter when you've been struggling. And Yeah, I think it was a poke in the eye more than anything else.
Poke in the eye for sure, Lee, and he came off just before half-time, obviously requiring some treatment too. There it is there. You just see him starting to stagger the moment the hand touches the eye, so obviously not all that comfortable.
But he looks okay, and that's good news for Sydney. That has been a sensational quarter of football by Sydney. Back in town, 10-2 plays 7-4.
Tickets found box office on level 3 or by ticketing. Terry Lewis and Crown. Crown congratulates Christian on his fantastic move on the podium. He was playing a 2-cent machine and hit the biggest jackpot of all, $1 million. Cristiano's at him, instant millionaire. You could be it. Party on at Crown Restaurants. Bring a party of 4 to dine at any of these restaurants at Crown during May and select a bottle of complimentary wine from our special selection of Australian wines. It's party time in May at Crown. Inside the capsule, $150,000, including one note valued at $100,000.
This kickback segment.
Do you have any idea what that is?
Well, I think it's sort of a reflection. Look back. Well, it was a 6-goal blast by Sydney in that second term, and they were deadly accurate too. 6-1. Collingwood had to wait virtually until the final siren at half-time before they booted their first for the quarter. 7-4 plays 10-2. So the question now has been thrown down to Collingwood. Can they come back in the second half? We'll stay with us right here on 7 and find out. We've got a number of players who are busy at work in front of as well as behind the cameras for 7 this year. I'm speaking specifically of Wayne Carey and Aussie Jones when it comes to Just Footy, and just ask Mickey McGuan about Just Footy and he'll tell you.
Hi, my name is Mandy Wells.
And my name's Jamie Wells.
And we are twin Magpie fanatics.
And we'd like to kick back with one of Collingwood's Premiership players, Mick McGuan.
Sweeps it out, Mickey McGuan.
Well, Mick, as a kid, did you always want to play for Collingwood?
Yeah, I did, Mandy. It was a burning ambition of mine. I suppose at childhood it was always a dream, but I never thought that dream would become a reality. But I was a fanatical Collingwood supporter. When they got beat, I used to cry, lock myself in my room, actually put my fist through the door a few times when they got beaten. I can remember the 1977 grand final as vivid as today. I went to my bedroom that night and I cried all Saturday night and I didn't come out till Sunday night. That's how upset I was.
Who took you under their wing when you went to Collingwood?
Certainly Peter Dacos took me under his wing. He probably realised that I was his boyhood idol, and wherever he was, I was his second shadow.
What was your greatest moment at Collingwood?
My greatest moment certainly was the 1990 Premiership side.
Tell us about that famous running goal here at the MCG.
Damien Monkhurst gathered the ball there at the centre of the ground. He handballed to me in the midfield area. And all of a sudden I looked out here into the members' wing and there was a lot of space. Michael Sexton here decided to leave Rocker, come at me, the ball carrier. And I knew that I was only sort of 35 metres from goal, and I backed myself in to balk him, get around him. So I just basically had a shot at the goals, and luckily enough I kicked the goal.
What did John Worsfold say to you at the end of that elimination final in 1994?
Oh, yeah. I thought you'd bring that up. He didn't actually say much about me, the individual, but he basically spoke about Collingwood as a whole and also Victorian clubs. And we'd lost that game, they'd won. And basically he said, get on your bike, get back on the next plane and get back to Victoria where you belong.
How's the transition to the media been?
Yeah, quite easy actually, Jamie. No bruises. No early morning training sessions. I know I want to coach, whether the vacancy comes up, but I think the media gives you that overall perspective, the way footy's played. It's been very positive.
It's been great talking to you, Mick, but just one more thing. Show us how you kicked that goal.
Mate, that was 4 years ago, Jamie. I need a bike now. I'll do my best. We need the next one. Grab it, son. Yeah, hand. Go! Shepherd, Ray Shepherd. Go, tackle me.
He still has got it, hasn't he, Mickey McGuan? And there it is, just footy, just part of the action of our great game. Check your local guides for time. Sydney and Brisbane, 6:30. Set the alarm for that one. Adelaide, 11:30 in the morning. Melbourne, it's 3:30 in the afternoon. And Perth, it is at 11 in the morning. Speaking of shows that you must not miss, Talking Footy coming your way on 7 on Monday night. And Wayne Carey will step out from the set of Just Footy and move into Talking Footy on Monday. Here's the special guest once again. Check your local guides in Melbourne, 10:45, 11:20 Adelaide and Perth, 11:45 Sydney and Brisbane. Wayne Carey on the couch with Bruce, Lee and Mike. We're going to take a break after Sydney's sweltering second quarter. Back with more shortly.
It's on Mitsubishi Triton Sky Control. It's big enough to hold all the loads that loads. The G-Bags ZS20 is backed with a sponsoring partner, the Australian Football League. You can get it done. You can get it done. You can get business. A hard-earned thirsty to big cold beef. And the best cold is Vic. A long cold Vic. You can get it. You can get it cheap. You can get it cheap.
Well, if you may have just joined us, welcome to the MCG on this Friday night round 7 clash. Collingwood made a lightning start, but now Sydney have pegged them back, and it's been a 6-goal second term as they wrestle the lead 10-62 over Collingwood 7-4-46, and they only closed that gap with a goal right on the siren. Speaking of Collingwood and their forwards kicking goals, one such player in the past was Brian Taylor. An interesting career, a colourful career. Time now to spend a Mitsubishi magical moment with a man we know affectionately as BT.
It was Collingwood's last match of the 1986 season, and full forward Brian Taylor would become the 4th Magpie to kick 100 goals in a season. But few realised how lucky he was to get there.
Well, I didn't think I'd kick it because I had a strained groin at the time, and Lee Matthews at quarter time had asked me to come off the ground, and I begged and pleaded with him to stay on for another 5 minutes. And fortunately, Peter Cameron, who was umpiring, gave me a very, very dubious free kick, so I managed to kick the goal from 30 metres out directly in front. But I was very lucky to do so because I left the ground straight away with that injury that would have ruled me out for the next 4 or 5 weeks.
The West Australian-born Taylor was awarded the Coleman Medal as the leading goal kicker of 1986. Brian Taylor, another Mitsubishi memorable moment.
Yes, great to see BT in action once again, on that occasion wearing the black and white and getting amongst the goals. Quick question to you, do you ever get superstitious? Well, a number of players do. For example, Jason Mooney, when he's getting ready for a game, always puts the left boot on first when he's preparing for the Sydney Swans. What about other players?
Only superstition I've got is I always touch the ground with my left hand as I'm running out and throw the grass in the air. That's the only thing.
Superstitions. I used to try and follow a set routine if I played a good game, and the following week I played a shocker, so I've given up on superstitions.
I've got quite a few. I touch the grass second as I run out in the field, often carrying a ball. Read the record in the loo before the games. That's about the extent of it.
Superstitions. Didn't have many when I played the game. No, I probably was superstitious that if you had a superstition, it was no good.
None. Must make sure I turn up.
Absolutely none.
Yeah, good on you, monkey. Just looking further ahead to the Sports World panel, it comes your way. Well, we should say mayhem comes your way every Sunday morning with Rex and the crew. And the vicious rumour circulating at the moment is that there is a David Pagan impersonator appearing on the show this Sunday. The mind boggles. The footy panel, that's this Sunday morning. Right now, we're going to take a break. Second half coming your way shortly from the MCG.
Yes,
From the half-time break to the third quarter, the Pies versus the Swans from the MCG on Footy's home ground.
Thank you, Craig. And of course, Footy's home ground is right here on 7 and also right here at the MCG. What are you looking at, Terence? You've got those binoculars up there. Just looking studious.
Just wanted to make sure.
I heard you looking down at Dipper to see if he's going to do some skiing to show us how dewy it is. Dip?
thanks very much. We talked about confidence, as Lee Matthews did during the first half, and Collingwood obviously had in the first half of the first quarter, and that energy level we spoke about at quarter time, Sydney certainly took it, so I'm sure Collingwood would get back into it. But Lee didn't ask the question how dewy the ground is. And
come on then.
So here we go. Now most of the players wear those moulded soles, so this is how slippery it is, Lee.
Oh, welcome back to the Moomba Masters.
Moomba Masters?
Hey.
Yes, I think that qualifies as slippery.
Oh, it's a nightmare. They turn 40 and they go funny, you know. Here we go.
You should know.
Thank you. Centre out, second half. Friday night football coming away on 7. Monkhorst Back in ruck up against Stafford. Down to Scotty Russell. He bounces it to half forward. Luff goes to ground. Dunkley sees his teammate there in McPherson. Get it out and eventually finish with Dunkley. Back to McPherson once again. He's got it in the middle. Sydney are continuing on as they did in the first half. Maxfield long to half forward. Good mark by Schreiber. Read it well, positioned himself well. Scotty Crowe gives himself a little bit of room. He's on half back. Collingwood down by 12 points. They need the first couple here as McDonald sees it go over with Brad Seymour. Good to see the number 7 back out there for Sydney. First game for the season. Been a long haul as he's come back through the reserves. Richardson was legged. Stevens a short kick back over the interchange line.
Stevens done real well since he's been on Buckley, since he come on the ground lead.
Yes, he has. Actually, Buckley's still getting plenty of the ball, but just isn't getting it as in a decisive manner or being able to construct as much as he did early in the game.
The ball thrown in. Slow to get out, but eventually it's the Swans through Schwass to half forward. O'Loughlin caught from behind. Comes again with Collingwood in the front position. Bounces the umpire.
Now, O'Loughlin there asking why he wasn't penalised for holding the ball, and one reason would have been that O'Loughlin didn't lay the tackle. He just put his arm around and put his hand on the ball as well. Must lay the tackle to put an obligation on the player to dispose of the footy.
Mooney high with the left hand, gets it down. Collingwood working across half-back, looking to create something. Buckley can't get it away with McDonald. Slung in the tackle and the ball eventually again out of bounds. But Sydney forward line working like a defence.
That's what it's all about. Once you come out of defence, there's all that space across midfield, but the ability to tackle and turn the ball over. The Swans weren't able to score from that terrific tackle, but it kept the ball in the area.
Richardson front position down. Creswell slaps it back into play. Maxfield, he's the kicker. Tosses it up towards the front of the square. The bounce.
Push against O'Loughlin, Terry. Paid to Gavin Krasiska. That was one of those ones that wasn't coincidental with the attempt to mark or spoil.
Krasiska, as he always does, looks to play on towards the far side of the ground. He creates the switch for the Collingwood side. Schwarber and Crowe. A little bit of a fumble. Out of the path of Russell. Good play. Finds Buckley. It's on centre wing for the Collingwood side. Working it forward. Much more purposeful than they were in the latter part of the second quarter. Williams. Patterson, he's got it. Patterson taking the mark in front of the taller player. Stafford doing well there on the mark. There it is, the little man in front.
And again, while that play was going on, Severio Rocker up towards half forward. I think Rocker's role mainly is to get Dunkley out of the defence and just see if the Collingwood medium-sized, smaller players can flow into that forward 50-metre area, as Patterson has then.
So Patterson, the one goal in the season was back in round 1, but that's when surrounded by 6 behinds. 1 goal, 6 for the year. An important kick for the Pies. It's right to the line. The Swans have high. Very, very quickly. Fuller doing the roadie, and he snared it. So Fuller being right where he's supposed to be, at the foot of the contest, in the square, picks up the first of the second quarter.
Well, I think the Swans might have been disappointed they didn't mark the ball there. Wolf really, he was the front man. He should have marked the ball, but when it went to the front, it just dropped, and then Fuller bang. And he's just been only played a few games, 4 games for the 19-year-old from Eastlake in the ACTU, but that was the goal that Collingwood needed.
So Brad Fuller is on the board for the Maggies. They close the gap to 10 points. Williams out of the middle. Collingwood forward again. Down towards the 50. Chopping it off is Dunkley. Gives it away to Creswell. Darren Creswell's kick is a poor one.
It's a bad turnover. They've turned the ball over 2 or 3 times early in this quarter, the Swans.
Crowe back into half forward once again. McPherson ducked his head. Wharf goes through with absolute strength. Dunkley gives it away out the back door to Troy Luff. Sydney out of trouble for the moment. Up towards Jason Mooney. Almost the mark. Not paid. Godden gets the quick hand pass out. It's to Buckley. Back again he goes. Godden short chip wide to the wing. Monkhorst in front of Stafford. Not the best kick in the world. McPherson pounces on it on the bottom of the pack.
You can really see players. I mean, it would appear Dipper shows at half-time the moisture on the grass, and you saw McPherson when he had to stop and change direction to try and intercept that Monkhurst kick. He just couldn't do it. You really need the longer stops now. Anyone who's wearing moulded soles is going to be slipping all over the place.
Bayes is on the bench, so too is O'Brien at the moment, when Wild is in a spot of bother as Fuller awaits his opportunity. Took advantage of one. It's
Good start to the third quarter, Sandy, by Collingwood. Again, they've forced the Swans into a couple of turnover errors.
Another one here will certainly make it interesting as Stevens' kick is high. Back towards Mooney, almost beaten by Schreiber. Mooney goes again. Does well. Quickly out to Michael O'Loughlin. Stabs it towards centre wing. Mix. Does well. Here's Robbie Arman. Now he can go on here. He does. He wants Lockett and he's got it. Beautifully done.
That's quality use of the ball. Hard up against the boundary line. Just being able to bring it back into the path of the full forward. Highly skilled player, Robbie Arman.
Yes, and Lockett again. It's got all the space to lead into. Collingwood really can't get the players back there to be able to block the space. And it's about the sixth time of the game Lockett has just simply ran at the kicker and the ball has been put in the line and he's marked it comfortably on his chest.
Lockett's booted 5. Goal up by moves away to the right. Sydney flags are up. That's why. Lockett has booted 6. And Sydney keep them at bay.
Well, as I say, there was again good play here. Williams missed the tackle. That was important. But players are really having trouble keeping their feet. Man, he just backed his pace. And then really just a terrific chip into the space. No fullback can stop that. I think the Collingwood fullbacks have to try and get the space between Lockett and the kicker.
So Tony Lockett with 7 marks, 7 kicks, 6 goals, 1. He uses the ball well. You can't give him too many chances from an opposition perspective. Sydney looking to break from the centre again. Can't do it on this occasion.
He didn't quite take it with him. How was Paul Kelly then? The way he goes through the heavy traffic, eyes on the ball and takes it with him. Didn't quite clear at that time, but that bulldozing in the centre square, something Paul Kelly just does extremely well.
And there's no doubt the development of Stafford as the ruckman has really given them something to work on in that centre bounce area. Collingwood's turn. Williams on the left foot. Half forward. Seymour and Wild. Seymour off the ground. Doesn't get away. Williams gives it back to Wild. Pressure from both sides. Maxfield. Don't worry about getting the handball off him. He doesn't give it. He's the kicker, and that's why. He used it beautifully on the left foot. Stafford holds it up a little. Goes along towards Lockett. No, it's Schwass in the front position. Knocked down Saddington. Well rode from the big man. It's going to go close. It's right to the square. Bounces too far to the wrong side. Boundary throwing, but that's not a bad return for the Swans.
He's been very good today, hasn't he, Maxfield? He used 15 kicks, and when he gets the ball and runs and covers the ground and then kicks it long, very, very penetrating player.
Mooney trying to get it over the back. Can't give it to the left footer. Schwass, too much. Again, bounces just inside. They'll have another go at the same play from the other side of the ground.
Yes, again, it was a terrific tackle by Russell. That was going to be a pretty easy shot at goal by Schwass, but good tackling pressure again.
Mooney from Armat to Michael.
Whoa! Well, can you imagine? I often think that players shouldn't be able to step back over the goal line, but I don't know how you stop them. But
Wheels will go berserk
at the same time. Can you imagine the panic on Michael Leonard if there wasn't the goal line? Uh-oh, where am I going? Concede the behind and we'll kick the ball in.
And just out of the right-hand side, he saw a plugger too. I think that eased it into the calculation.
Oh, no! He's going to have another shot. Oh,
he's missed it.
Video.
And what's the chance of Scott Russell kicking short from this kickoff? I think very little. I think this time
1,000 to 1.
Yes, I think this time you say, well, who's a long teammate? All the Collingwood players are setting up down the centre corridor. The Swans are playing a basic zone, and now the Collingwood players are coming to the Canberra side of the ground.
So a let off there. O'Loughlin is going to have another ping. Michael O'Loughlin goes in towards goal. He's away to the right.
They've been very wasteful this last few minutes for Swans. They've got control of the game again this last couple of minutes, but to get that extra goal or two on the scoreboard, they've kept Collingwood alive.
Back with Scotty Russell again. Long into the outer side. Finds Michael. Now Michael from half back. Kicks towards centre wing. There's a free kick.
Again, Sandals, not coincidental with the attempt to mark or spoil. Clearly a push in the back.
I think Stafford would have had to actually have marked at the top of the southern stand. He would have been up there that long. That was an early leap. Have a look how early this is.
It's interesting, actually, because Gavin Krasiska knows he's coming and backs into him. So it's...
Stafford at the back, Monkhorst in front, pushing it down, Wild loses it, Seymour in the thick of things, Maxfield also, no one able to pick it up. Lachlan working hard, caught by Wild, gets it out the back door, and they're away. Kelly takes the hand pass from half back, kicks to half forward. Schwartz.
It's a dangerous matchup. Swash is the forward against Scotty Russell.
Lockett's back there in the square, screaming for it, and the Schwatter goes bang with a long drop punt, going for distance. He's away to the right. Plugger used Mel Michael as a step ladder, but he needed another run.
He's had 3 chances, Lockett, in this quarter. Have a look at this. Swash up in the front. Scott Russell, not a good body-to-body defender. He really was a bit unlucky, but he allowed Swash to come. And then Lockett 3 times, I think, has misjudged the flight of the ball. And Backley back to do the kick in. He's the man who does it best, but if you're kicking it in, you can't get it in midfield.
Comes wide, he wants Krasiska. Krasiska wanted that ball for McDonald.
That's well worked.
Yeah, to Scotty Russell.
Plenty forward, they've got plenty forward.
He's going to run out of time. Just gets the kick.
Whoa!
Scotty Crowe thought about that, didn't he, Lee?
He certainly thought about it.
Just thought about it, nothing else. Just thought about it.
That was umpire John Russo. The 4th umpire. Well, a couple of Sydney boys almost interfere with each other there. Watson throws it out. Rockerham passes wide. Pressure on the Sydney defence. But McPherson is able to run it out. There'll be another throw in.
There's no doubt Collingwood need a mark in the forward line. Rocker with just the 2 for the evening. Yes. And one of those while he was in the ruck across a half-back line.
Yeah. He's just not looking about marking the ball against Dunkley at the moment, particularly when Stafford gets back there as well.
So Creswell, he goes over the top. Maxfield, a cute little push there. Curia on the left foot. That's his favoured side, kicks it into play well. Richardson, first one back, Mooney there with him. Richardson wins it, Mooney tackles, that's dropping the ball. The tackle took the ball to the ground. That's it, John.
Great call, Terry. Yeah, certainly has the ball for a while, tries to get away from the tackler, can't do it, ball spills out.
Mooney on the left, finds Plummer on the right.
Yeah, it was interesting then. Michael knew that all the space was there for Lockett to lead into, and he tried to block up the centre corridor. He really just didn't really position himself that well, Michael. He tried to get out in front, but sometimes it's like the Mickey Martin tactic, I think, is what's needed against Lockett. Play 5 metres in front, make sure he can't loot at the kicker, make him earn the marks.
Tony for number 7. He's kicked 7 goals, 1 behind.
Well, as I said a few times, there's a lot of ways you can get the ball, but just leading into space and having the ball kicked out in front of you, that would be the 7th time tonight that's happened.
Seven goals to Tony Lockett, 12 to Sydney, 12-6 plays, 8-4. Collingwood struck back early in this term. Sydney steadied. Kelly charged them to half forward once again. Johnny Stevens tries desperately to get clear. Michael leaves Lockett. They defend grimly. Crowe gives it back again towards Williams. He kicks to centre wing, wide to centre wing. Clean bowls is the good doctor. And taken towards the line by Lucuria. Kept in play, however. Collingwood have it down towards their 50. McPherson bends it back to Troy Luff. Ricochets away from him. And also Chris Tarrant.
Interesting situation, that centre bounce, Sandy. Tony Lockett actually lined up in the forward pocket, not at full forward, but in the forward pocket. Interesting positional structure that Rodney Eade is working in their forward line.
Here's Williams. Only as far as McPherson. Well tackled. Seymour also well tackled. Almost thrown out eventually. Comes to Fuller. Bends it in towards half-forward. A centering kick. Stevens does well. Johnny Stevens, well played. Takes on about 4 of them. Tumbles it to Saddington. And a beautiful little catch as he plays on. Into half-forward. Sydney growing in confidence all the time. Mooney looked for the smecky. Didn't come his way. And Patterson defends. Running out of half-back. Kicking wide towards centre wing. A desperate lunge by Paul Williams. Sees that ball over the line. 8.5 minutes left in this third term, and Collingwood can't seem to close the gap. 78 plays 52. Tarrant bumped off it. Stevens wanted it more than anyone. Kicks it towards Saddington. Picked up nicely on the half volley. Nicks back to Saddington. The youngster in 2 minds eventually gets it clear. Lucuria kicks to left half forward. Maxfield's been busy against Russell. Maxfield goes again, gets front spot. But is pressured over the line by Scotty Russell. Another throw in.
17 disposals to Stuart Maxfield. 15 kicks and only the 2 handballs.
He's a player, Wheels. If he has 20 possessions, there's going to be a lot of damage done. A lot of space comes from those kicks.
He continually kicks the ball a good 50 metres, doesn't he?
And usually
with great
runs,
accuracy.
And usually runs 15 metres before he even kicks it. He has really a great penetration in his play.
Actually came into this game having 86 kicks and just 16 handballs for the season. So a real 5-to-1 ratio, but it's gone the other way. It's even increased here tonight. That's probably a handball, the little tap he gave there towards Creswell.
Only because he had to. Yeah, well, if you can run with the ball and kick the ball like Stuart Maxfield, you should be mainly a kicker of the ball. He's the receiver, the overlapper, the bloke who carries the ball for the Swans.
So throwing in half forward. Matthew Francis takes it out of the ruck. Works with Patterson. Eventually with Wild. This is a better setup for Collingwood. They've gone to centre half forward. Rocker can't complete the mark. Francisco, he's come up the ground to do the roving. In towards full forward, tips over the back. There's a pair of pies. Watson's the one to get it, and he's missed it. 3 goals in the first quarter to Shane Watson.
And we've spoken a couple of times. This is just a bad miss, just very quick. Wasn't able to balance. In the first quarter, he was kicking those, Watson.
Wharf, O'Loughlin. Heap of space here for Paul Kelly. He can go towards Schwass. He's coming hard. Is he going to make it? Doesn't quite get there. Bayes, he's on the wrong foot. Now he's on the right foot. Left foot. Lockett can't get it. Godden does the roving for the Pies.
Oh, but his kick is going to drop short, and it's marked by Lucuria. Back he charges in towards Lockett territory once again. Bayes is also there. Good strong mark taken by Mel Michael. He heads towards Rocker on the outer side. Under 7 minutes left in this third term. 53 plays at 78. Sydney have won the last 3 meetings of these 2 sides. Collingwood have won their last 3 games. Buckley. A high kick towards left half forward. Pounced upon, but look at the desperation, especially if Sydney. Pugsley went in, but Andrew Dunkley at the bottom of that pack was very, very desperate. Picks himself up. There's Jason Mooney having a spell. Krasiska down towards his sides 50.
Sandy, you spoke about Stuart Maxfield. He's off the ground at the moment, just getting a rub down. He's obviously had a terrific 3 quarters, and I suppose Ronnie just getting ready for the last quarter.
It's just simply giving him a spell, Dipper.
That's right, Lee.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dipper. The Dipper on the boundary line, and McPherson takes it over that boundary line.
I'm glad you said it wasn't the old Dipper on the boundary line.
No, mate. No. There's a song, Dipper, Life Begins at 40.
Looking forward to it.
Krasiska loses it. O'Loughlin takes it. Kicks back towards centre wing. Good mark by Saddington. An impressive young boy, Lee.
Yes, yeah. It's this Lockett right out in the forward pocket there. He very strange, unusual positioning.
To centre wing. Patterson keeps it in play. A worm burner. Well intercepted by Stafford. He just loped forward and stuck out an arm. Did it extremely well. There's Jared Crouch getting his chance. Nix gives it away towards Saddington. Couldn't control it. Nix will go again. And again.
Very good.
Still going. Too good. Wayne Schwartz almost directly in front. 40 metres out.
And again, Saddington, again, you mentioned him, Sandy. Yes, he's quite a very impressive player. He hasn't played too many games of league football. Only 4 this year, first-year player. But when the ball was up in front of Swash, he just was able to get the first few steps against Crow, the jump from the front position.
The Schwatter, as he's known, kicks for his first. The goal umpire does not move. Schwartz gets number 13. 13-6 plays 8-5.
It's a position that Denis Pagan often used Wayne Schwartz in at North Melbourne. Often he'd push him down and play him as a full forward, a medium-sized full forward. And Rodney Eade at the moment has set up his forward line. Even though Lockett's kicked a lot of goals, he's kicked 7. He's been actually going out to the pocket and allowing Schwartz to be the leading forward, and a very effective move.
So Schwartz is the leading full forward. Lockett the decoy in the forward pocket, not a bad decoy. The 3 of them have kicked Sydney's last 3 goals. Buckley working from the second. Rocker from behind, pushes it down. Here's the chance for Watson again. Attack on the ball was good by the Swans, straight in underneath it. Loose ball out the back. Williams, that's got to be high. No, says the umpire. They're going on. He was obviously unsighted, John.
Yeah, well, Chris Mitchell was on the other side of the pack, Terry, so we obviously had a great view of that one.
Could have been a bit high into the bargain.
Yeah, and 2 or 3 blokes between Chris Mitchell and that contact.
So the ball now to be bounced 35 metres, 40 metres out from goal. Collingwood got the first goal of this 3rd quarter through Brad Fuller. But again, Sydney deny them. The defence has been very good. Saddington takes it. Away he goes. Which one does he want? Lockett or Schwartz? Lockett or fly? Schwartz is at ground level. The assistance comes. Victoria just with White sees it go.
Free kick to Jason Wild for holding the man in that chase for the footy.
He hasn't covered a lot of ground tonight, Tony Lockett, but he is looking tired.
Yeah, there we see the little grab on the jumper there. Jumper balloons out. Right.
So they've played back in short to centre half back. Scotty Crow looking for the space on the outer side, uses Richardson.
It's like working with a librarian. Just find what you're looking for, Terry, and we'll carry on with the game. Got more books in here than... Here's Seymour. Stevens. Still Johnny Stevens. Now O'Loughlin. Saddington. Youngster also gaining in confidence. Collingwood need a couple of goals badly. Richardson takes a couple on. Creswell takes on Patterson and looks in amazement as a free kick doesn't come his way.
I think the crowd was screaming for a free kick to be paid in the contest on the other half forward flank immediately prior to that, but the player on the bottom obviously contributed to the contact from behind.
Stafford belts it down. Collingwood at the moment are 8 goals 5. They've added 1-1 for the turn. Creswell to Kelly. Kelly up towards Licuria. Stafford's in front. He's claimed. So to Richardson. In towards half forward. Brad Seymour's given away a free kick. What do you think, Lee?
Looks soft to me. Yeah, I mean...
holding the jumper maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, but they've been told that if it doesn't have any effect on the contest.
Well, Rocker gives it to Watson. And the good doctor kicks it. Shane Watson gets his 4th. Organ that into the ground. Collingwood hang on. with their 9.
Well, they are hanging on, Sandy, no doubt about that, but that goal just keeps them within striking distance. That's the first time Rocker again, I think Dunkley again attacked the ball in the air as he's been doing all night, but that time the ball came to ground. He's just been really an opportunist, Watson. 3 goals in the first quarter, 1 goal in the third for 4 goals for the game.
4 goals to Shane Watson. It's like working with Wilbur Smith, but it's good to see that Terry Wheeler has finally taken his eyes out of that book and is back with us.
Kelly in the centre of the ground. I was just looking at Schwartz, 5 goals against West Coast Eagles. He's in line tonight, and this is a pie soon. Patterson, Luff goes back, Fuller's behind, good little trap, works with Liddell, offline, bounces through just the one behind.
And you read 6 books to give us that piece of information. Thank you, Terry.
Oh, it's a wonderful game. There are stats on everything now, isn't there? Hard ball gets, loose ball gets.
It used to be called winning a contest.
Yes.
It used to be called possessions.
That's what it's been called for a century, but now it's hard ball gets.
We're contributing to the employment growth within the industry with all our statisticians.
And how many HBGs did you get? Oh, golly.
There's a couple being won out here tonight. Just at the moment, more of them belong to Sydney. This man's done a couple. Johnny Stevens, he's been in it to Crouch, the first gamer. Half forward. Richardson couldn't take it the second time. Crow, he's been solid. Looked to give it out the first time, didn't the second time.
You call it, Terry.
Well, he certainly had the opportunity.
You called it exactly as it was. He went to handball it and then decided, no, there's nobody with a Collingwood jumper out there, so I better not do it. I'll just hold it in.
And down he goes. Very lucky, so it's bounced. Outside the 50, Bays, first one on it. It's loose out the back, Armac can't get it. Tarrant on the right foot. Stafford goes down. Maxfield goes, Luff goes down, they all go down.
Push back.
So the big fella, again, showing his balking style. Steps out, right foot, found the target.
He didn't find the target, he was standing there on his own, Mitch. He was there on his own, but I don't think Stafford saw him. But in fact, the way the kick was smothered, pushed his leg across, and the ball went left straight into Nix's arm. So good luck, good fortune, I guess.
But the statisticians give it as an effective disposal. Matthew Nix. Started a career with a broken leg. How is the leg now, Matty? It's pretty good. A goal. Sydney answer the Watson goal.
Yes, again, Matthew Nix, originally from West Adelaide, played all 6 games this year, and again, the ball was pushed left, and just standing there on his own, waiting to receive. It's a fantastic feeling when you're forward of the ball on your own. Can your teammate see you? And he didn't for a while, but eventually the ball fell into his arms. But I think we've got very treacherous conditions at the moment. That grass surface is very, very slippery, and players are really having trouble having any surety with their footing.
Matthew Nix has kicked his 3rd goal for the season as the siren sounds. Another very solid quarter by Sydney. They booted 4 goals, restricted Collingwood to just 2. And they're able to build on their lead. Tony Lockett, if you've just joined us, has booted 7 goals to this time. Michael O'Loughlin and Robbie Armat are the only other multiple scorers for Sydney, whilst for Collingwood, Shane Watson has 4. He booted 3 in the first quarter and kicked 1 of their 2 in this 3rd term. Brad Fuller kicked the other. There's Danny Frawley behind Tony Shaw.
We just saw Sav Rocker, and he hasn't kicked a goal. Tony Lockett's kicked 7. I think coming to the ground, we thought which of the full forwards kicked the most goals would win the game.
And we better take a break, Lee. Three-quarter time here at the MCG, 30 points the margin. It's marvellous to be working with such wonderful wordsmiths on my left because they're all looking forward to the Mitre 10 banner and to see who's won it. Lee Matthews actually arrives at a game each week with 5 or 6 in the back of his car. And
I'll win it eventually by weight of numbers, Sandy.
There we are. There's our winner tonight, and $1,000 worth of goods from Mitre 10.
7 Sports hope you're enjoying this match in the 1998 Coca-Cola AFL Premiership season.
I'd just be interested, Lee, we'll ask him now, if Dipper decides to ski now, probably go
I
straight
want to know
through the
what the
fence.
slippery meter is, because I think the slippery meter's gone off the scale.
Well, what is it, Dipper?
It's right off the scale, Lee. It went from 20 metres now to 50 metres.
Give
But
us a
it's
slippery
starting to get a
Dipper.
bit chilly here at the moment. The wind has certainly picked up, but Tony Shaw is more concerned about his matchups, especially down the back line there. He just thought some of his players were very slack about not helping out the backline players. As Lee's mentioned tonight, how many times the forward players like Lockett, even Swatch ran into open spaces between centre-half back and and full-back. And for Rocket, he's still got the players out there. Just said one more quarter. This is the game we need to win here because you're in Melbourne and this is where we have to play the games for the rest of the season, hopefully back in September.
Yes, they do. After dropping the points at home, Dipper, last week, Rocket will be very keen to take the 4 points on the road. So, some experience there, isn't there? Look at that. Monkhorst, Krosiska, Wright, and Buckley.
But Sandy, you'd have to say a 30-point lead at this stage. It's a very big ask here of Collingwood. Their form had been great. Their 3 wins, they looked very good. They'd been quick and they'd been precise, but just tonight, after a great start, they've really been whittled down by the Swans.
And Rocker back to full forward. I think he has to kick goals. For Collingwood to get up, Rocker needs to kick his 2 or 3. And he's got to be in the end of the goal square. He's never going to do it at centre-half forward. Mark Richardson has gone into centre-half forward for Collingwood. That's the main changes in their structure.
Well, Rocker has been the leading goal scorer in each of Collingwood's wins this season. They need something from him. 30 points the margin as we go into the final term. Stafford belts it out of the middle. Down towards Robbie Armour. Tried to get it quickly onto Kelly. He moved like greased lightning. There's Robbie Armour. Hassled by McDonald. Not before he gets it clear to Kelly. They're on the move once again. Down in towards the pocket and Wayne Schwass. But that kick's a little too wide. It's out of bounds on the foot. First goal imperative for Collingwood if they're going to mount a challenge. Advantage is going to be paid here. Monkhorst took it. Now Mel Michaels run down the ground. Takes the hand pass. Kicks up towards the 50. Richardson almost handled a luff illegally. McPherson's in trouble. Try a ball, but to no avail. Seymour picks himself up with the assistance of Troy Luff. And there'll be a bounce. Mark Bayes, a seasoned campaigner now. Craig O'Brien in the middle. Stafford beaten. Kelly did get the hand pass away. Williams on all 4s.
He's just worked his way into the game, Kelly. He's just, and I mean hard work. He's just kept at it, running hard to overlap. Hasn't had a really precise game. Ball handling hasn't been tremendously keen, but he's just got over 20 possessions by just keep being there to make a contest.
Ball just inside 50. Seymour working with Stevens and away he goes. He's on his bike. A couple of bounces confronted. Slips down. McPherson working in there behind him. Goes in towards half forward. Pace. Robbie Armour against the boundary. Screws it back in towards Schwass. He should cut back the other way. Great tackle from behind there by Godden. That bottled him up. The Pies have a chance now just to settle. Pushing on out to Buckley. Buckley holding it up at half back.
The centre's worth a try, but unless it's a really precise centre, you might as well have a go on yourself.
Richardson
from Armour's point of view.
Towards the centre to give it that chance. Does. They need to now come down through the corridor. For mine, that's either play on, John.
Yeah, well, I mean,
or nothing. You shouldn't have to bring him back there like that.
I don't think Richardson knew he was off the line that much, though, Terry.
Well, the umpire should tell him to play on, but he doesn't. So Rocker has a go at it. Left foot out on the full. Always going to be a hard shot for the big one.
Yes, it's interesting when you look forward to the ball. Dunkley just tries to zone the spot in front of Rocker so he can't have a free space to lead at.
Buckley, Monkhorst and Stafford do the wrestling standing. Buckley jumps over the top of them. 80 metres out. It's going to go to 40 metres out. O'Loughlin goes back. Watson concedes it back. The long left foot, it's good. The Pies get the first. Liddell starts him.
Yes, again, Watson, good play. The ball just drifted over the head of O'Loughlin, and Watson came and met it. O'Loughlin just couldn't quite get back there. Fed it on, happens to be that Liddell could turn onto the left side, and really didn't look like missing. Well, that's the goal that Collingwood needed, just to try and start the ball rolling.
"24 points, now the margin. Chad Liddell closes it by 6. Stafford and Moncourse do battle in the middle. It just eluded Williams. It was okay for Nicks from a standing start. That's just great body use by O'Loughlin. Did it earlier in the game.
He doesn't look strong. He doesn't look that strong. Hasn't got the big bulging muscles like some. But it's the balance, the ability to just keep your balance. And he's always in control of the contest and push Liddell back under the ball. Liddell's just kicked a goal on him. So here's one to see if he can even the score in that mini battle over the last minute or two.
This to really hurt the Pies. He'll be kicking from 45. He's very deliberate in his approach. And he has hurt them because that's sold straight through the middle. Michael O'Loughlin gets his third. And Sydney have the answers.
Isn't he a terrific player, the 21-year-old? He just... That's making a mark out of your half chance. Maybe out of 55-45 chance, because he had the front position, but Liddell had the sit, and really it was just Liddell got his body caught in with O'Loughlin and not able to get at the ball to spoil.
"15-6 plays 10-6. You can see why Michael O'Loughlin was All-Australian last year. Wonderful player. They go forward again. Licuria towards centre half forward. Graham Wright's waiting down for the Pies. Hand pass a little proppy. Stafford. Oh, Stafford shows dash. Lockett on the lead. One grab. Can't complete it. Quick to apply the tackle. Michael takes the hand pass. Wright is waiting wide. And he kicks to the outer side where the mark is taken by Tarrant.
Francisca's on in the wing. A little bit slow to get to him though.
30 points the margin. Tarrant goes longer than that towards Richardson. Belted down towards Patterson. He couldn't take it. Williams is there. He finds Patterson. Quick as a flash. Over the top to Buckley. Look out! Look out! Back it comes again. They're not giving up yet. Fuller into the open goal. Fuller closes again.
Well, yes, terrific play by Collingwood. Krasinski was the one who got through. Stevens went over to cover him. That left Buckley through. And Stafford just wasn't able to lay the tackle quite effectively enough. Let's have a look. We'll see in a sec here. He just was able to evade the tackle. McPherson followed up. But then again, all 3 missed tackles. Fuller kicks the goal. Now the Collingwood, they're keeping coming.
Collingwood with 2 goals in the last quarter. Liddell and now Fuller getting his second. 4 goals the difference. Kelly, the quick kick out of the centre. Magpies turn it back through Russell. Sydney run it down in the centre. You can't find the handle on it, Nicks. Maxwell comes in, quickly kicks it on out wide. It's Tarrant, the young player for Collingwood, game number 4, across the body. Tough bounce there for Williams. He props underneath it. Now the support from Francisca. Wants his left foot. Gets around on it. Wobbles it in towards Richardson, but nowhere near him. Cleaned on up there by Crouch in his first game to Maxfield. To half forward. Here's O'Loughlin. He's got the sit. He's got the run. He's off. He should go. He hasn't. He's come back. Now he's away. Here's the chance right to the square. Big plucker. Ridge up. Missed it. Armat. Can't get it away. Plugger again. Shrugs the tackle.
It's a good tackle by O'Connell.
And Damien Moncourse suggesting that Plugger took on the tackle and then tried to barge his way through.
Donald's 80 Ks and Lockett It's 110 and he got him.
But I'll tell you what, Luke, we haven't seen too many holding the balls tonight, have we?
Not too many.
I think somebody's put the brakes on them.
Gunshot tonight.
Umpire Shane McInerney bounces the ball. Moncrief thumps it over the line.
And McInerney was in fact one of the umpires last week in the North Melbourne Adelaide Crows game when 7 holding the balls were paid in the last quarter, but he certainly didn't want to pay that one.
That's a baller. That's got to be a baller.
Yep, agree with you.
Ball thrown in. Sydney want it over the back. Collingwood want it to the front. Collingwood get what they want. Not quite. Maxfield squared it out. No. The Pies wanted the boundary line. Maxfield made them work to the nth for it. Georgie Stone, formerly with Hawthorn, in the background there, chewing the gum. There it is.
Critical to the game here. If Swans score a goal, I don't think Collingwood can get them, but if they can just get it out, then they're still alive.
So the Swans want to get it out the back here. They can't.
It's just a
Another
quick minute,
bounce.
just this last 30 seconds. It's just like really the headbutt, the tug of war. Who can win it here?
So both sides just looking for the space. A big round arm thumps what's wanted. It's dropped down. Stevens, quick out. Patterson. Buckley. Gee, he finds space where no one else can find it. Away from half-back.
His long hand pass didn't quite find its mark, but they've got the numbers. Francisco on the end of it, over the top of Sannington. Now pressure on the Sydney defence. They come charging out. But first, Seymour. It's going to be okay. O'Loughlin's on the end of it. With skill through the centre. Then a high ball, difficult one. Up towards half forward, almost down to O'Loughlin again. Here's Kelly. In towards full forward. Maxfield comes charging out. McDonald waits down. Graham Wright takes the hand pass off to Scotty Russell. Collingwood looking to steady, looking to score. Maybe they sense this is the time. Francisco over half forward, up towards the 50, up towards Severio. Gets the hand pass to Fuller. Fuller's high kick into half forward. Buckley straight in front, 45 metres up.
That was great work. Firstly by Fuller, being able to win the ball, and then the body work in this part.
Yeah, it was fantastic play. The Swans had the numbers round the contest, but Fuller was the one who was able to kick it forward, and Buckley just had the sit. And Buckley and Koziska have really lifted Collingwood right back into this game.
1 goal tonight, 7 goals for the season. But this is a vital one. If he kicks this, could start them. He's kicked it. He has kicked it.
Well, as you mentioned, that was fantastic body work by Nathan Buckley, wasn't it? He just made sure his backside in this marking contest, he just made sure that his backside keeps out any competition.
There's a centre corridor football. Once you go down the middle of the ground, and the Swans had all the numbers. They outnumbered him here. But just Rocker, he hasn't done much tonight, Rocker, but on to Fuller, and then it's just a kick and hope. But Buckley made the hope.
Tony Shaw in the coach's box. Rod Eade in the opposite box.
No one's talking about Mother's Day celebrations yet.
They're not on. Stafford takes the arm out handball, the quick kick out. Swass in front, tackled, holds it. High step it out. It's Crow. It's a hot one to McDonald. He can't get away. Maxfield. Now the Swans, a couple of quick exchanges of handball. Michael very good in front. Michael didn't have the flu last week. He had something more serious than that wrong with him.
He is looking very ginger, isn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, and what has happened as this game's worn on, Michael has taken the front position off him. And he's made sure that he's actually, if Locker's to get the ball, he has to jump over the top of him.
Mooney, McDonald, the fist, Maxfield swoops on it. Left foot drags it around. It's dangerous. He's just too big.
But that's what he has to do. He's going to make sure, and the point is, even a player as good as Lockett, there's only a certain amount of marks you can take by just outreaching from behind. That was one of them. You might get 2 or 3 a game because he is a good player. But if you keep letting them lead into space, then they're going to kick you multiples. You're going to kick the 10.
Lockett. Is that 8, Sandy? 8 goals for Tony Lockett. He's now kicked more than 7 goals 55 times in his career. And what an important one here tonight.
Yes, it was, because they were making the charge. It was a good centre of the ball by Maxfield. He got it up, and it was a question on this occasion. As I say, Michael's been taking the front spot. But extra height of Lockett was just able to enable him to take the mark.
Sydney and Tony Lockett holds Collingwood at bay. 8 goals to the big number 4. 16 to Sydney. 16-6 plays 12-6.
And the Swans got 2 extra players in the defence at the moment. Rockety just must want to stabilise the game.
And only 11 minutes remaining. Buckley out of the centre. The bounce is not a good one for Richardson. He's ridden into the ground. Gets rid of it very, very smartly. Crow around the body. Bending it back towards the 50. Brad Seymour leads in the race. And he won't mind taking that over. Won't mind in the least.
Now, first game for the season for Brad Seymour, and I think he just looks like he needs the game. I mean, the run, he's just keeping up with the tempo of the game. Certainly no overabundance of energy.
No, but he's such a key player. We've seen him come back through the reserves. Williams taken out.
I don't know if we could see that Kelly tackle again, but he was doing the tackling and also then working the ball out of Richardson's grip all in one swoop. I mean, yeah, there's tackling and then there's doing it. Watch this here. Richardson takes one, then Kelly takes it, and then while tackling him, actually scoops the ball out with the left hand.
That's great. Richardson pirouetted into the ground.
Wayne Swash has been dispatched upfield. I think the Swans are now trying to get an extra runner in the middle of the ground if they can, and Wayne Swash, the player they've turned to.
Richardson again, but it's just belted defensively over the line.
It's interesting, just behind this boundary throw-in, you've got the 2 ruckmen, Damien Monkhurst and Stafford, about 20 metres behind the players contesting this boundary throw-in, just trying to play cat and mouse, draw each other out of the area.
Sydney are probably going to gain 15 or 20 metres, if not more, as Nix keeps it in play. Kicks a high, long ball to half forward. Waiting down is the youngster in crouch. Gives it off to Robbie Armack. Armack can cover himself in glory. Starts at left. Goes into the pocket. Lockett is there, but he's gone over. And in fact, the kick was over on the foot. I thought that Robbie Armack may have a crack at that one. Mal Michael comes in short, somewhat dangerously. But they'll live again as Russell paddles it forward to accommodate Patterson. Back he goes to McDonald. Another one is almost down to half back. And Collingwood steady, but they need goals. 78 plays 102. Gordon is across that half back line. Good looking kick up to half forward, but it's going no further than that.
Just get the feeling this thing's now going out of it, don't you? That Lockett goal. Matthew Francis, Scotty Crow. Crow, who had been good, 22 touches during the game, sitting on the bench, right, tackling Kelly. Wharf trying to get through, can't do that, and the ball will be bounced again.
I don't know about the sting just yet. I reckon another goal might end the game if Swans get it, but if Collingwood get it, I think it's very much alive. I think you're right in the balance of whether this game is decided or whether Collingwood can pull it out.
So games now of 20 minutes, quarters of 20-minute duration. We're now 16 and a half minutes, so time on not that far away. Collingwood working hard. Stevens, left footer, couldn't get away, so handballs to Kelly, to Seymour, taken in the tackle. Durant on the left foot, it's tossed up high. The jump from behind, Wild can't complete it. McPherson steps away with it.
A lot of hand passes missing the target tonight.
Godden kicks in, here's the chance, Rocket coming, Schwartz going back, takes the mark very courageously and acknowledged there by Andrew Dunkley.
Yes, he came back, he didn't know who was behind him, but he had just kept his eyes on the ball, Swash, as you would want a player to do.
Long towards the 2 big men, Stafford.
It was a show of strength.
Yeah, that was a big show of strength. When they extend the arms like that, you'd almost say it's a push, wouldn't you?
The umpire lets it go. Buckley breaks clear, 45 metres out, squeezes through some heavy traffic, but in doing so, forced to go low and it's gone left.
That was an important kick. He just couldn't quite. It was terrific. Have a look at this
show of strength, John. Talk us through it.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can't talk.
Talk us through that push in the back.
Other than to say I reckon it's a push in the back, I can't say much more.
Here's Troy Luff. Both these sides down on their average scoring this year, but not by much. Sydney in particular, average 18 goals, 11. At the moment, they've got 16-6. Collingwood, considerably lower down, they average 15-12, but at the moment they've kicked 12-7. Schäuble goes to the outer side. Saddington will come in to try to affect the spoil on the good Doctor. Not before he gets it away to Patterson. Tucks it under his arm and away he goes. Patterson from 70 metres. Up towards full forward. Wild is there. Rocker is there. They need a mark, but not to be. Wolf combines with the Schwatter. Takes it to the outer side. Saddington marks. Done well, Saddington. Goes back to Schwass. Gets clear and then goes onto the left foot. High floating punt towards centre wing. Kelly was the flyer from behind. Jason Mooney was in front of him. Stewie Maxwell roving the pack. Puts them inside 50. The danger men are lurking. One is O'Loughlin. Tries to tap it over the back, but is unsuccessful.
I'm not sure how Krzyzka's got back there on O'Loughlin, because Krzyzka up in the midfield early in this quarter was really giving Collingwood a lot of impetus and a lot of run, I thought, but he looks like he's just back there on O'Loughlin later in this quarter.
Moody tried to get it down to Robbie Armat. He's done well against his old side.
Well, that's a good mark. He's been impressive. Saddington, I think it's Saddington, isn't it, who's marked the ball again. And it's a contest. Saddington and Tarrant, two very young fellas, but the Swans man's won the contest.
Lockett wants it long, Lee. Here they go, Lockett and Mal Michael. Not quite far enough. Michael did well. Finally, Russell takes it over. There's Mal Michael and Tony Lockett. Big night for Plugger. He's booted 8. Leads the goal kicking at this stage. Mooney closer to goal, closer to O'Loughlin and Lockett. Belted clear by Marnie. Only as far as Williams across half-back, but he's not clear yet. He's not clear at all. Saddington is well claimed. That was a good tackle. Goddington gets it out to Marting once again. Marting skippers wide and it's picked up by Seymour.
And this is Squash overlapping. He's playing loose man back at the moment.
Well, now you shouldn't do that. The old shove in the chest or the face has been pinged. Mooney.
I think, John, it's a fine line. If it's a push in the chest, it's okay. Push in the face, no good.
In the chest, it's okay, but a push to anywhere above the shoulder will be penalised. So that one, I think, was in the chest. Yep. Not much doubt about that. Pushed him in the chest as he fended him off.
Funny place to have your chest up there, but anyway. Here's Mooney. Jason Mooney with a run like Michael Holdings. Into the square, Lockett is at the back. The ball sails over behind.
He's playing from the back now, Tony Lockett, isn't he? We saw him early in the game just continually getting into space, but to run into space takes a bit of energy, and as I said, Michael's taken the front position of him, but as this game has gone on, Plugger looks very tired or very sore, one or the other.
And it'd nearly be, well, there's only 4.5 minutes there. You take him off now, I'd suggest.
Well,
if you've got a fresh bench, I'm not sure the status of the
might
bench.
take more energy for him to run off the ground than it is to stay on.
Well, he's close to the home race now, just leave him there within 30 metres. Collingwood now, Scotty Russell. Has been busy, 18 disposals. One of the keys early in the game for the Pies. Been out for a while. Krzyzka's been steady all night. Williams finally gathers, uses Michael, runs into a couple of bits of trouble, eventually gets out with Williams. They're holding ground here. The Pies are not going too far. The Swans are holding them up.
The Swans have got a lot of players back. That's why they've got 3 men back, so Collingwood have got all the players upfield.
Schwabel now picks out McDonald. He's tossed one around the corner to Wild. He had to wait. Schwartz makes it. Great run.
I've seen a couple of them tonight. Schwartz then, O'Loughlin early in the game, just to make the yard. Didn't concede, didn't accept that Wild was going to get it, attacked the ball. It was terrific defensive play. Here we go again.
As you said, Lee, in that situation, it's very easy to spoil the player rather than the ball, but they've been disciplined enough to spoil the ball.
So Sydney's experienced players have made their stamp here tonight. Schwartz, Dunkley has been one too. He's been a tower of strength in defence. Fuller couldn't handle it for Collingwood. Warp, very cutely off the ground. It's found Maxfield. It's gone forward. O'Loughlin does a little body work with Francisca. Plays on again. Mooney to Lockett. Michael behind. He's got it. Lockett's got it. 8 looking at 9.
And if I didn't know better, Terry, I reckon Plugger was limping a bit then as he slowed down to take the kick.
Yeah, there's no doubt that his legs aren't feeling all that well. As I say, we know whether it's times when see his left knee's heavily bandaged. And again, he couldn't quite make the yard to get clear of Michael, but just good enough in the body to just, because he is a lot bigger than Michael. Bigger in the body and a little taller.
Well, I reckon he's bigger than any man playing the game just at the moment. Here he is for 9. The Swans have got the full forward of the night. 9 goals, Tony Lockett, and more impressively, 9 goals won.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm going to make a big statement, I guess. I've seen Lockett kick 9 goals tonight, and I've seen him kick 4 or 5 and play better. I reckon tonight he's just got to the right spot. He's led into space. He's got about 4 goals from like this one where he's just earned them. The others were just a simple lead into space, but he's kicked very accurately. 9-1's a fantastic return.
And Lee, the Collingwood defence has always been questionable in terms of height, hasn't it? Young Michael's made up with some run, but here they've been exposed with that height.
Sydney out of the middle again. Just a couple of minutes remaining. It's a cruel bounce for Jason Mooney. A good one for Scotty Russell. Comes back in towards the centre. Nicks almost intercepts and then gives away the free kick.
And all the Collingwood good players have got a bit of it. Williams has got a bit of it. Buckley's got a bit of it. The key point is, though, Rocker hasn't kicked a goal. That's been the difference.
30 points the margin. That's what it was at three-quarter time. Seymour pops over the hand pass. It comes wide to Schwass. He may go again. Almost runs into his own teammate. Mooney was there. Williams from the centre towards Big Monkey. Almost lost it in the lights for a moment, but then recovered and takes the mark 55 metres out.
Sandy, does Anthony Rocker return next week? Was it 2 weeks?
2 weeks, so he's back next week.
They need him.
Oh, Monkey! Schwatter makes him pay as he just heads to the outer side of Stuart Maxfield.
The shades then of Monkers when Rocker passed it before and missed the target. Sometimes the big guys just can't control the kicking well enough to look to play it off like that.
Held on to it for a long time again. It's a tired Collingwood now. Sydney finishing full of running. 79 plays or 109. Stafford.
Gee.
Well, that's an interesting hand pass as well. Not a very tidy finish by either side. Russell almost gave a nudge. Jared Crouch is there, short to O'Loughlin. That's better. A long way from home, and Plugger says, I'm not running, just kick it long. I refuse to go too far. Well, he almost got front spot there. He still chases, but he's on one leg. There's no doubt about that at all. Tarrant to the outer side. Collingwood clears.
Godden just drops it back inside towards Siska, but Maxfield runs it down. His kick off the ground gives Crouch the opportunity. Saddington, O'Loughlin, and how cute's this? Slotted into Tony. Round it up.
Easiest 10 goals you're ever going to see.
In front of 57,894 people.
Boy, don't they come in late? And all of a sudden this ground filled up, and O'Loughlin, he could have kicked the goal, but he doesn't know the Plugger's kicked 9, about to kick his 10. But it's always a great effort to kick double figures. You can stand in the goal scare and receive 10 handballs, and it's still a great effort if you kick 10 goals, I reckon.
You should do it all the time, Lee.
Only because of you, Dipper.
Of course.
Lockett on the side for number 10. I think he's finished in a blaze of glory. The perfect 10, well, almost. 10 goals, 1 to Tony Lockett. And a satisfied Rocker lead. Heads down to his players, but you wonder with Plugger limping away like that, how he's going to be next week. There's Rodney Eade. this is a convincing win when you consider especially the flying start that Collingwood made. Let's go down to the ground. Dippy, you've got the big man with you.
Yes, thank you very much, Sandy. Well, first, congratulations. 10 goals, and most importantly, 10 goals won tonight.
Yeah, it's a bit different a few weeks ago against Geelong, I suppose, but irrespective of what it is, it was a good, great team effort. The boys started off slowly, I thought, but really knuckled down after we got halfway through the first quarter and kept up the pressure pretty much for the rest of the game. It was really good.
When I kicked 10 goals, you look a bit puffed out.
I'm a bit worn out, mate. I'm getting nailed.
But important win by the Swans tonight.
Oh, very important. You know, it was a bit disappointing last week to get beaten, but you know, that's just the way it goes. We've set ourselves goals just not to get beaten 2 weeks in a row. So to come down here, first time we've been down in Melbourne this year, and the boys turned it on. It was really good.
Fantastic effort, Tony. Well done, mate.
Yeah, thanks, mate.
Yeah, just a fantastic effort. Again, I think I said a few times it was just such a simple game of football from Tony Lockett. Early in the game, he was just able to lead Mark Richardson into space, run into about 5 or 6 chef's marks. That's got him going. And then Michael came onto him, different type of player, Michael. And it's funny, I reckon in the end of the game when Plugger was a bit tired, not leading as hard, Mark Richardson, number 3 there, might have been better because he's bigger player. Once it became a body-on-body pushing and shoving drill, then Lockett's big frame is just too big for a guy like Michael, who's a really promising player, but at about 88 kilograms is probably giving away 20 kilograms in weight. And Lockett, as I say, it was a very simple 11 kicks, 10 goals won. It's just a fantastic effort. He finished up one end, Rocker down the other end, couldn't get a sniff of it against Dunkley, and really that's probably the 6-goal margin. Lockett 10, Rocker none. That's the game.
So there he is with Andrew Dunkley, Johnny Stevens, Michael O'Loughlin. Well, they might have been a little lethargic last week, perhaps early on in this game, but certainly that's gone now. They thank their Melbourne fans.
And there's a few of them too. They do get the old South Melbourne Football Club that was the origins of the Sydney Swans. They do get some support in Melbourne as well.
So I guess we could say they've avenged their last defeat at the hands of Collingwood at this ground, which was the 1936 grand final.
It's a long time for a bit of revenge, about 60 years.
You watched that one, it was a good game.
You wouldn't want to be waiting, would you, Sandy? Holding your breath for the return match.
Oh, dear. So in they come. It's Troy Luff and Wayne Schwass leading them into the rooms.
Schwass was good at the critical stages of the game. I thought his work across the back line and then being the alternative forward option for Tony Lockett in the mid-period of the game.
Yep.
Their senior players, I thought, were good tonight. Kelly continues to show his workmanlike attitude to the game. And some of their sort of second-string players, I thought Nix and McPherson were good across the back. Young Jared...
I've got to say, Worth, I don't think it was one of their super performances.
No.
It wasn't a super performance. The inside 50s were similar.
Great to see the enthusiasm of the youngsters, particularly in the song like that. To watch someone like Saddington, who's just so involved.
Only just
with
learnt
the club.
words to it. He's very happy seeing it for the 5th time for the year. And some other, Robbie Armat playing against his old club. That's always a tough one.
And got a couple of early goals. Early in the game when the Swans were really struggling, Ahmed, I think, kicked their first goal and basically was really kicked 2 of their first 3, I think. And that was pretty important to keep the Swans in touch when they were really playing pretty poorly the first half of that first quarter.
Luffer with Watson. Watson got away early. Luffer was able to pull that in, but Johnny Stevens across the back. No, good signs there for the Swans.
And they finished up exciting winners, 18-7 to Collingwood's 12-7. What a minute. Only a minute 15 and it's showing that.
Check. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Which is going to be the club that dominates the other? I believe it's going to be us.
Really, it's Kilpatrick's the one in there, so we've just got to...
Well, outside the West Coast Eagles room, they're just about to go onto the football ground, and tonight we're going to join them going down the race.
They don't come much bigger than this. Anzac Day, Collingwood and Essendon.
Pretty close dipper, but we just felt that we keep them available for next week. Is there ever going to be an incident where you mightn't come out and do this?
Well, we'll do it on all home games.
As soon as we get a kick from half-back, I want everyone to run and drag their people away from goal.
Healy off, Ellingworth on.
A couple of times we've rushed it as well. In goes dive, we cancel, didn't have to.
Let's take some risks now. We really take some risks.
Terry, fantastic effort.
Yeah, look, they've been great all night.
So if we want to go anywhere as a club, we've got to make sure that we win these tight games.
We persevered and got the points, and that's all that matters.
But when it gets real tough, we just don't care and we stop. Absolute trash. If you want to be let into our rooms, we don't see any more of this crap or you won't be in.
Seven certainly is setting the pace, as you can see by that, and Sydney was setting the pace here at the MCG tonight, headed up by Tony Lockett. He beat it 10 goals, 1. Not bad stats from 11 kicks. The final scoreline, 18-7, 115. Collingwood, 12-7-79. Their major contributor was Shane Watson. The good doctor booted 4.
The 1998 AFL Premiership season proudly brought to you by Telstra, making life easier. Victoria Bitter for a hard-earned thirst. Cadbury Mark of the Year. And McDonald's, official restaurant of the AFL.
And let's go back now to the Sydney rooms. I believe the writing was on the wall, was it not, Dipper?
Certainly was, Sandy, as we can see here. A merciful pressure, chase, tackle and frustrate. And talking about frustrate, we have one player who's dying to get back in the side, Dale Lewis. Well, firstly, welcome, and what a terrific win by the Swans tonight.
Yeah, Dip, sensational win by the boys. Shock loss last week to Melbourne, I think, but tonight, as you said, the words on the sheet there just says it all. It's just sensational. And the big fella, Lockett.
And the big fella kicking 10 goals. Didn't play last week. He's got a bit of a sore knee at the moment, but just a terrific effort.
Oh, mate, fantastic. Finished off the good work. And Andrew Dunkley, special mention down back, really stitched up Rocker in the first half. And I think just a run in the quick hands and the endeavour, which is the main thing. The boys have been great.
And one player, Stuart Maxfield, he's been in and out the side this year. And on and off the ground this year, but tonight he played a fantastic game, nearly 30 possessions.
Yeah, mate, his nickname's the Yo-Yo. He goes on and off that many times, I'm telling you. But, yeah, Stewie, just like everyone, had a really good go. And, mate, that's just fantastic. It's a great spirit around the club, and let's get here next week for the North Melbourne.
And the big question is, Sandy, when do we see the big fella back, eh?
Mate, I don't know about. I'm still about 2 or 3 weeks away yet to start it back with the knee, so hopefully get a few kicks and try and force my way into the side dip.
Well, firstly, start off with getting a haircut and have a shave, all right?
Coming from you, Dip, that just will not work.
Well played.
Thanks, mate. I didn't play.
Actually,
he meant well played in the reserves, didn't you?
He did. Dipper, are you still with us down there?
Yes, Sandy.
I'm just wondering, can you just clarify with Tony Lockett, it is a knee, is it, that's causing the problems, or
Well, I just
the
reckon
much
the way that
publicised groin?
I reckon it's just his knee. With his knee tonight was bandaged, and as Lee said, he's played 4 good quarters there, and with the cold air out here, it's got a bit stiff at the end there, but I think he should be right.
Okay, thank you, Dipper. Well, let's talk about that second half. 16 points the margin at half-time. Collingwood's still in it.
Well, yes, because this kicked the goal on the half-time siren, of course, and that got them within 16 points. And they started right in the first little bit of the third quarter, Collingwood, but then we saw that Fuller just really the front position on the pack, the right crumbing position just on the boot, really poor defence, should go through. But then they couldn't really stop the Swans scoring. 6 goals in the second half Collingwood kicked, and the Swans just kept it ticking over. They kicked 8 and they just kept that margin and gradually increased it. And again, this is really the carbon copy of what Lockett did. He just let into space. They kicked the ball out in front of him, marked it. That's how he got about 6 of his 10 goals. The other couple, he was just too big. And we see here, I think Creswell was on the chase. And this is Buckley. Collingwood always look dangerous when Buckley's getting the ball. He gets plenty of it. He's had 27 or 28 possessions again, but just didn't have enough helpers. Buckley was all right, Williams was all right. Full again kicked his second goal. And this is the other way. There's only 2 ways Lockett got the marks. This was the other way. Stand tall and just be too big and strong for Michael. He got 3 or 4 goals that way. The other ones, of course, are on the lead. And this was the kind of turnover that was a bit costly for Collingwood. They started off terrific, but once the game wore on, they just gave the ball back a few too many times. And again, the lead into space. And Lockett's there. He certainly saw in his right knee, no doubt about that. The 10 goals, great return. We see the stats there. Collingwood had more kicks. Sydney slightly more handballs, but the same number of possession. The marks, well, a lot of them are out on their own. Tackles, similar, centre breaks, a little bit better for Sydney. Inside 50 was interesting. First quarter, Collingwood had the ascendancy, but the second, third, fourth quarters, Sydney went forward more times and scored accordingly.
Okay, Lee, let's go back to the Sydney rooms, because I think Dipper's got Stewie Maxfield. Had a sensational game tonight, Dip.
He certainly did, Sandy, and they call you the Yo-Yo, they tell me.
Yeah, I've had a few nicknames, and Yo-Yo's another one, just someone off the ground all the time, so the boys have a bit of a joke about that.
Well, terrific game, because you're used to the MCG, obviously playing for Richmond.
Yeah, look, it was fantastic for the boys just to get back to the MCG. I mean, we only played here probably 2 or 3 times a year, and this is where the finals are played, so it was great for the boys to get that experience.
And you're on form too. I mean, you enjoyed to carry the ball, don't you? And the long kicking.
Yeah, look, I've been a bit disappointed. My form last week and the last couple of weeks, so it was good to get the footy in my hands again today, and do pretty well.
Last week I was in Sydney. I just thought the side was very flat. Obviously, different today.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to put your finger on on why you have those flat spots and that sort of thing, but I suppose it's hard to maintain that intensity week in, week out, and unfortunately you had that lapse last week. So
it's important to win here at the MCG because you've played 5 at home and 1 in the West, and to come to Melbourne to win.
Yeah, definitely. Look, the boys were disappointed in last week, so we had to bounce back. I mean, we did have the short break, but it was fantastic for the boys to just dig deep and have a good win.
And Dunkley, terrific form. What's his nickname? Dunks.
Dunks. No, it was fantastic for Dunks. Look, he's really bounced back from last year. He had a few niggling injuries last year, but this year, look, he's been he's superb out in the ground. He's just a real leader around the club.
Now, Rodney was very happy when he came in the rooms.
Yeah, definitely. It's just we had to really have another win just to maintain that gap on the field. So it was just got to look forward to concentrate on next week now.
Well played, Yo-Yo, and hope you can stay on the ground.
Thanks, Dipper.
Yes, a fine game, wasn't it?
He was very good, yeah. Particularly early in the game, I thought he was their best player early, Maxfield, and then he kept going. Very penetrating game.
Let's have a look at some of the team stats and some of the individual performances. Percentage-wise, you can't go past number 4.
Yes, well, that's efficiency for you. 11 kicks, 11 of them marks. They're all marks. That's the only way you got the ball. 10 goals won. Tremendously accurate kicking. Kelly, just the workhorse. I didn't think it was one of his best games in terms of just clean ball handling, etc. But he just keeps bulldozing his way into the pack. O'Loughlin, just some terrific bits of class. 3 goals. He was very good. I mean, Lockett and O'Loughlin, 13 of the Swans, 18 goals. Nix, he was solid. Maxfield, again, their main possession winner. And really, it was just a fairly even effort. Saddington, you mentioned him a few times in the call, Sandy. I thought he was very impressive for a player playing his first year of football. Dunkley down the bottom there. 2 kicks, 12 handballs, but kept Rocker to no goals. That was a fantastic effort. Creswell, I thought, was a little quiet. But 1 kick, that's amazing, isn't it? 12 hand passes, but only 1 kick to one of their midfielders. Mooney, Stafford was good in the ruck. Low possession game, but I thought was good in the ruck. And again, McPherson not too bad as well.
And you could see the depth now, or you can see the depth now in this Sydney lineup, can't you? 6 changes from last week, but no doubt about the players coming in.
Brad Seymour there, he'll be much better for the game or two because it's first game for the year and just needs to pick up the tempo, pick up the match fitness.
Well, let's have a look at your old boys from your glory days of 1990.
Again, Buckley led him fantastic, I thought. I mean, whenever he's getting the ball, they look dangerous. He's just a terrifically consistent player. Williams had high stats, but I don't know, I just don't think as much came from Williams tonight as he normally does. I made 28 possessions, but I often hope that he can kick, 2, 3, 4 goals. Only got 1 tonight. Shane Watson, he was efficient also. 3 goals in the first quarter, I think 1 in the third. So 4 goals from just a floating forward pocket. He certainly earned his keep. Crow was all right. Russell, Kozisko, I thought, lifted him early. Patterson, Liddell, it's really just a very even effort apart from Buckley and Williams. And again, we sort of go down. Michael, well, he really got on to Lockett, but geez, when in the body-to-body duels, he's given away 20 Ks, and gee, it shows.
Okay, so a look at the stats of both sides. One man who's racked up plenty of stats, Lee, is Wayne Schwass so far this season. Dougie Hawkins, 4 weeks ago, said he's going to win the Brownlow. Dipper, he's down there with you, the Brownlow favourite as far as Dougie's concerned.
Well, the Brownlow favourite as far as Dougie's concerned is with me and Wayne the pressure. I mean, you've had a terrific start to the season.
Yeah, look, Dipper's worked out really well. The last couple of weeks have been a bit of a battle, but I mean, it's good that even if some of our high-profile players aren't playing as well, our other guys are getting us up, and gradually you work away and it works out your way.
Now tonight you played in the middle and up forward, but you finished off in the back. Just a good experience for the players down there?
Oh yeah, look, I think that to come down here in front of, I don't know how big the crowd was.
59,000.
I mean, it's a good crowd, it's a finest atmosphere, and to play on a ground like the MCG, it's just a good experience for people involved with the club, and I think that to come from behind and to show a lot of character was a really good effort.
I said during the call, the energy level at quarter time was just fantastic. Everybody was up there.
Yeah, look, I mean, we got a bit of a kick in the backside because they jumped us, but look, I just think it showed a lot of character just to stick to our task, and we gradually wore them down, and I just think, as I said before, it was a good effort.
And the big plugger, does he say to you, listen, just kick it to me about 5 minutes in front? And...
Oh no, Tony's pretty good out there. I mean, if there's a bit of a mismatch, he'll leave you alone in the pocket. But I mean, look, when he's kicking goals like that, Dip, you let him go, and puts a smile back on his face.
Well, nice to see you back in Melbourne and continue the good form.
Thanks, Dip. Thanks, mate.
Wayne Schwass there with Dipper as we take a break from the MCG.
Ground floor, Olympic stand. Brett Boyd of Ringwood. Please come to the Basics Administration Office. Ground floor, Olympic stand. Attention, would David Johnson of Dandenong please come to the Bay 6 Administration Office, ground floor, Olympic stand. David Johnson of Dandenong, please come to the Bay 6 Administration Office, ground floor, Olympic stand.
Well, Stewie Maxfield was saying it was important to stay clear at the top of the pack, and that's what Sydney are doing at the moment. But of course, the Western Bulldogs, Melbourne and St Kilda may have something to say about that. The Bulldogs closest to Sydney on percentage. Let's look ahead, Lee, to the games. Firstly, for tomorrow, 3 big games. I'll get your tips. At Optus Oval, it's Carlton and Port.
You wanted one-word answer, so I've got to go for Carlton. And St Kilda, I'll go for them too with one word.
There's 2 words. At MCG, Essendon plays Geelong.
Geelong.
Geelong, that's going to be an interesting one at the MCG tomorrow. Just check your local guides. And then looking ahead to Sunday at Football Park. Well, desperate times, especially for West Coast.
Yeah, I think Adelaide at home should start favourites. Melbourne are on a roll there. And North Melbourne, I always tend to pick North Melbourne. I picked them every game for about 5 years, I think, Sandy.
So you're picking them to beat the Western Bulldogs. All right, Lee, thanks for your comments tonight. Hope you've enjoyed it. If you're a Sydney Swans fan, you most certainly would have.
This has been a 7 Sports production.
Highlights of the first quarter.
They right to go? What are they doing?